go.
that
Let's
I'm
go.
getting.
Just gonna read it.
Yeah, just read it.
Hello, and welcome to the Point in Progress podcast, episode 50, your one-stop shop for news, recommendations, and some spicy takes. Join 5 friends across 3 time zones and 2 countries every week as we discuss all things we love while still thinking critically about them. Hello, I'm actually hosting this week. I don't know why they wanted me to do this, but I'm doing it, I guess. So you're going to hear a lot of me today on this episode 50 of the podcast. Guys, we made it to 50 episodes.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? We've sat here in these chairs a little bit more than 50, but basically on numbers, we've sat here in these chairs together 50 times.
At least.
Including Aaron.
I've loved all the other 49 episodes I was definitely a part of.
That's right.
But we do have a special guest this week, making it a very special episode. Not only is it our 50th episode, we have another half or the other third of Speaking of Stadia here. I'm trying to remember because I'm like, it's not half, it's third. It's like
numbers.
Numbers are hard.
Numbers hurt, man. But hey, welcome to the podcast, Aaron. How you doing today?
Man, I'm great. It's also a huge honor to be here for you guys' 50th episode. Like, that is a legit milestone, and y'all should be proud.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've been cranking them out, man. It's been a blast, honestly. I somehow knew you were gonna do some kind of jerk off motion when I said that, Mario. So I looked straight at your camera and I was not disappointed. So let's go ahead and get on to it here with the checkpoint. I already said we already have a very special guest this week, Aaron, and then I guess I'm hosting, so I guess that is the checkpoint. That was the checkpoint I just said. Thanks for tuning in on that. I don't host. This is weird. This is weird to me. I usually just like.
Who else is here, Frank?
So let's go ahead and introduce the rest of our Point in Progress cast this week. Sly, how you doing today? You were giving us some knowledge on some very historical characters before the podcast that I didn't even know existed before this podcast.
You can't mention Alexander Graham Bell in front of a deaf person and not expect them to be prepared to throw hands with that bitch.
Yeah, 100%.
So, it's not my fault. I just get heated every time you mention AGB. It's fine.
AGB.
Yeah, you know me.
For some reason, when you abbreviate his name as AGB, I think of like MSG. Like this is some like foodborne killer. Don't you dare put some AGB in my rice? How dare you? Judging just by how you explained how much of an asshole he was, I swear to God, if I see him on the street, he's getting slapped 100%. Like if he was a ghost, a zombie, somehow came back from the dead, he's getting folded.
I'm glad you're on the side of the deaf community. We're happy to have your support.
See him on the street, he's getting slapped. But other than that, how are you? How was your week? What have you been up to?
It's been good. I watched a lot of things that I'm excited to talk about later. But other than that, it's just been. I'll be honest. I've been stalking a job postings all week, and that's been about it. Also, the Nova Scotia Careers website, which if you haven't been on, there's some wild stuff on there.
Yes, there is.
Oh my God, we got to get back to this. We're coming back to this. This sounds hilarious. Also, I'm still stuck on the fact that Fee called it Scotia the other day, and like it's to me when somebody refers to Nova Scotia as Scotia, I think of it as our America for some reason. we abbreviate it as America, so they abbreviate it as Scotia. But anyway, we're coming back to that. Mario, how you been, man?
I'm good. I decided that Harv is not here, and so to honor him, I'm gonna be drinking this whole bottle of Bacardi, along with my new favorite drink that you've introduced me to, actually, Nitro Pepsi. Which Aaron,
how's that working out?
This is gross, but Aaron, I'm gonna tell you what this is. This is basically draft cola. It's nitroglycerin in a can.
Okay, it's not nitroglycerin.
Nitroglycerin. It's NOS.
It's instead of CO2. You know, how normal soda uses CO2 to give it the fizz. This uses nitrogen instead of CO2, which gives it, instead of like it being super like kind of fizzy, it makes it smooth while still retaining the Pepsi flavor.
Yeah. So it just ruins Pepsi.
It depends. It's kind of like a creamy flavor. It's not for everybody. Like I wouldn't drink it every day, but like with like, you know, a nice meal or something like that, I might just
You
like
can
take a few
actually
sips.
do the same thing. I think you just open a Pepsi and leave it out for hours.
Yeah, just make it flat. Yeah, 100%.
That's it.
It's kind of got that flat flavor, but it has a little bit of a bite to it somewhere. But yeah, what else you been doing, Mario?
You know, just working. I'm you know, still writing out the review for Evil Dead. I already posted my first draft. It got a lot of notes, and I wrote hopefully cleaned it all up and sent it back out, and hopefully it should be out by hopefully the beginning of next week. So
Oh yeah, no, I read a little bit of it earlier when you posted it on. It sounded pretty good to me. You got basically most of the things down on it. So
I apologize. I didn't check it out. Did you just post like "is Fee a tree" like multiple times in it? And that's why you got notes.
It's
or-
free. Are you this tree? The people that watched the last episode live understand that joke. But anyways, no. So I had a good time writing it, and I don't want to review another game for a while. It's hard. It's scary.
reviewing games are hard.
Yes.
So everybody in the audience have already kind of seen that we are missing one of our Canadian people here. If you've been following the Point in Progress lore, you know
British,
that last
what are you
week.
talking about?
Oh yeah, that's right. He's British Canadian.
British Canadian. British Canadian.
Canadian.
Not French Canadian. British Canadian.
No, yeah, British Canadian. If you've been following the Point in Progress lore, you know that last week I was abducted by FEMA. They let me out the camp. It was pretty nice, actually, all things considering. I mean, they fed me. They gave me Pepsi Nitros. It was kind of a blast. So now it's Harv's turn this week, I guess. So
Sounds like torture. I'm not gonna lie. As soon as you said Pepsi Nitro, I was like, wow, they really hated you.
Oh yeah, no, they waterboarded me with it. But yeah, so we're down one Canadian here, but for our remaining Canadian, Fee, how are you doing this week?
Oh, I'm doing quite well. It's been a very long week. I don't even know, like, honestly, other than it, I know that it's Friday because we have the podcast today. I could not tell you what day of the week it was. So yeah, I'm
A mood.
yeah, it's just like essentially right now it's just like, when is the podcast? Okay, it's Friday because I know the podcast is today. So yeah, it's been going quite well. Just a little bit sleep deprived, but other than that, it's going quite well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. No, I know how you feel on that. I woke up today and I completely forgot it was Friday, just because like the days off kind of blur because we get different days off at our job. So sometimes it's on a Friday, sometimes it's on a Wednesday. You know what I mean? So like I think it didn't really sink until like 2 p.m. today when I sat down. I was just like, shit, I got to do the doc. Like, we have a podcast today. So yeah, no, I'm in the same boat here. So yeah, that's everybody here. Aaron, other than like other than that, what have you been doing this week, man? Like how you been?
I've been good. It's an official holiday for my podcast. I have a short form comedy podcast called Give Me 20, and today is Give May 20.
Give May 20. Let's go.
We went ahead and launched a merch line. We launched our official Twitter feed, and then I had been putting all the episodes under my other podcast, Awesomely Average, and we kind of dedicated our own feed, launched a new logo, all that kind of stuff. So it's exciting stuff. It's hilarious that me and Mel, my co-host, did this for almost a year and a half. Like I think a month from now would be a year and a half. And we finally committed. We're like, okay, I guess we really are doing a podcast after a year and a half. And so, yeah, it's been a fun week prepping for all of that and then launching all that stuff today.
Yeah, definitely got to check that out. And of course, like, when this video goes live on YouTube, we'll definitely have to like link your guys' merch down there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's cool. It's a limited release. It's only, obviously, because it's us, we're only doing it for 20 days. So you have 20 days to buy a shirt or a sweatshirt or whatever, and then it's gone. We just kind of did a fun little bit of release through Bonfire. So,
hell yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to what we've been playing. Let's start off with Sly. What is nonogram color LOL?
The LOL was minus. I want to point out that so this is a like mobile like puzzle game, whatever. You have like a couple different colors, and it's like a grid, and you have to like fill out the certain colors for how many like numbers that indicates whatever. But I was typing this into the doc, and I typed nonogram COLOR because I'm American and that's how I spell color, and our Google said that's wrong. I was only mildly offended.
I have a question for you guys actually on this. Where were you when you learned that there was 2 ways to spell color?
Oh, when I started watching British comedies, but all of a sudden they were saying things like with it's just like a little bit of effort. I was like, wait, why are they doing that? I was like, oh, there's an extra U in there. Weird.
It's pronounced the same way.
I know, but seeing it on paper is a little different. Like I first came to this like realization that there's two ways of spelling it on RuneScape, because I guess RuneScape was like made like overseas or something like that, so they would spell color like that. But I was an idiot and I would read it as color. So
the alcohol drink.
Until I looked it up one day. I was like 6 years old, so I don't know. But yeah, no, I always thought of it like, maybe it's just a different word or something like that. And then I was like, oh no, there's just like gray or gray. There's an A or an E.
Yeah, no, try being a Canadian in school, trying to read a book, and then you're like, okay, there's a bunch of words that have an extra U, but like my teacher says that there's an extra U, but then you read a specific book, and then you're like, okay, the U's now gone, so that's fun. So yeah, no, it's weird. It's very, like, I understand the confusion there, but no, as a Canadian, we know at a very young age that there's an extra U in some certain words, yes. Because that is what we specifically use as well.
So Sly, explain this U.
This U, I just did it so there wouldn't be an ugly red squiggle. But I think I've read like British children's literature at a young age, and so I'm also dyslexic, so I'm pretty sure I just didn't notice. And just sometimes the word color was shaped funky. So I couldn't really tell you when I figured that one out.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird one on paper, right? But yeah, so on next up here, let's
well, what is non-color? What is it?
Did you not say what it was?
No, we talked about color.
Oh, okay.
It's a mobile app. It's like a grid. It has like depending on the hardness, different widths, but like the hard one is like 15 by 15, and on the sides it'll say how many numbers of squares each color is on like the side and the top, and you have to like triangulate to draw out pictures basically. But that's taking over my life currently.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah. And then Fee, I see you've been playing a game that we've all been playing this week.
That is correct.
Mm-hmm. You want to tell us about your experiences with Evil Dead the game?
Well, I'm gonna reference what we specifically did last week. So after the podcast, we played some Evil Dead, and I decided to watch it because the majority of us playing it last week, I wasn't even on voice because I was all by myself as a killer. One, thank you for underestimating me, everybody. Because that went really well for you guys.
I know what you're talking about, because multiple times I said, "Hey, let's not go too hard." Okay,
you said it twice.
Yeah, I know. I said multiple times, 100%. And then I realized how fast you can level up, and I'm like, okay, maybe we should have gone a little harder in the beginning.
And then, not only that, I Tokyo drifted twice during it, and people freaked out. No, honestly, I quite enjoyed it. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did, because as someone who enjoys horror movies but has never really been a huge like Evil Dead fan, I was like, okay, I'm not going to particularly like this. So I was like slightly concerned, but Mario was just like, you know what, I'll get it for you. I'm like, okay, we're gonna play it. But no, it brought a lot of elements that I was kind of missing in other games, like the Friday the 13th game, because I felt like that one was very like it was lackluster and laggy. It was just like all the L's at once. Yes. Whereas, which just kind of like bummed me out, because the idea of like actually playing a slasher film where you're playing as 80s characters, you're like, hell yeah. And so that's why I'm excited for the summer when we get to play that specific game, which I, of course, forget the name off the top of my head. But no, I was really excited. I played as a regular standard hero, and then we went into the killer aspect. I was not expecting it to be in first person, and not only in first person, but you play as a spirit, so you can just fly around, which is someone who does not handle first person games very well. It was a little bit of an experience.
It's very nauseating. It's really quick. Yeah, it's so quick.
Yeah, and honestly, one thing that I actually quite
have emergency Dramamine on your desk?
I do not. I wish I did. I have a thing that we have in Canada called Gravol that I take. If I had known that we were playing a first person, but I didn't. Sometimes I'll take that before I play Dead by Daylight, specifically so I can handle my nausea. But no, it was a lot of fun once I actually, because at first you kind of feel like, at least for myself, I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing, other than the fact that there's red orbs all over the place. But then once I figured out, like, okay, I'm just going to set up all the traps, which is seemed to be what was one of your downfalls when I was the killer, was I just set up all the traps everywhere around the Necronomicon as well as the dagger. And then I went because I saw some people. So it was a lot of fun. Honestly, I'm really excited to play with. I wouldn't probably play this online with people I don't know in comparison to like Dead by Daylight, where I would hop on and unless I was playing the killer, because then I would just be like, okay, I don't need to like work with people I don't know. But no, I don't think you could play. That's a game that you need to rely on your teammates. Whereas, yes, Dead by Daylight, you have to have teammates and everything, but there is a way to successfully just do all of the engines and just head out by yourself. Or even if everyone dies, there's a way to exit by finding the hidden trap on the ground. So, no, I don't think I'd play this by myself as a survivor, but as a killer, absolutely. I would just go and terrorize people, but I haven't this week.
You're actually surprisingly a really good killer in this game. I think you have not lost yet as killer. But
I did it once.
I swear you did it twice, didn't you?
No, I did it once.
No, just the once.
Okay, so you're 1 for 1 then. I also see in chat here, Eric Oriana says, "Wow, is that Give Me 20s Aaron Seaney?"
Oof. Frank.
Did I say your name wrong?
That's an open wound for me right now. It is Seaney.
Seaney? Oh, okay.
Which Greg Miller of Kind of Funny chose to berate me about last week.
Oh no, I don't know about this, by the way. So
Oh.
This is not planned in any way.
I also have a Greg Miller tangent from this week.
You grabbed salt and like found my open wound and just
inexplicably. Not planned.
But I'm sorry, I have a really quick question for Fee. I wanted to let her finish. You said you Tokyo drifted in this game?
Oh, absolutely.
What do you mean?
Okay, so for funsies, actually not even for funsies, it's because of the way that the mechanics of the vehicle is. Even if you like press it like just a like tiny minute like little press, it goes like 100 miles per hour.
It does.
And so like I was trying to constantly like turn the car, but the way that it happens is all the power for some reason is in the front of the vehicle. So if you try to whip your car around, the entire back just goes.
Yeah. It's a
So-
Beyblade.
Aaron, just so you context, you can possess the car that people are driving.
Which I did see that on stream, so I guess that does now make sense. I watched Kind of
Yes.
Funny stream this game, which I do have a quick question. Like, being the monster seemed so convoluted and difficult.
No.
Oh, it
It's
is.
overpowered.
I don't think so.
I mean,
On paper, it looks super
looks
complicated. 'Cause
daunting.
The first time you play it, it's like 100% that. It's very, very complicated and very hard. But once you get through your first game, I think it's very easy to understand what's going on.
well, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know what was going on because they don't have any labels for the buttons. So
Right.
it was just like, okay, let's press 1 to see what goes. Oh, this happens, or like, oh, what happens if I press this? And I just kept on accidentally summoning my skeleton like Piper.
Little
And so
dude guy.
Instead of like actually like hopping somewhere away from any of you, it's just like, here's my
Gotcha.
Piper that I can only summon every minute. Which that Piper, for some context, I played the Necromancers, so I played the Skeleton Crew,
Evil
And-
Ash for
yeah,
those
Evil Ash.
those in the movie.
and like one of his abilities is he can summon a Piper, which is a skeleton playing a flute, which summons other specific skeletons, and it actually raises the fear of these survivors or the people. Yeah, so they're trying to survive, but what you want to do with this Piper is hide it somewhere because you don't want the survivors to just take him out. But I just kept on being like, okay, I'm gonna hop away now, and I'm like, oh fuck, because I just hear like I click on both, like, one of the buttons, and then I just hear, like, I'm like, fuck me. And so then I have to, like,
he just comes out of this portal and just goes, and you hear it, and it's so dumb. It's just, you just hear in the background.
Yeah, so then you're like, okay, well, that was a really great waste of my energy. But no, there's definitely a kind of a strategy that's involved, and it's very much like you can't, like, you might not win a specific fight, but you want to specifically win the war, which is setting up traps, taking those opportunities to get energy, actually thinking ahead. And for me, I was just like, I was feeling a little bit deterred, was because I was just like, okay, I haven't seen them for like 10 minutes. I don't know where the hell they are. And all I've been doing is like flying around and setting up traps. But then I'm like, wait a second. This became very helpful later on when I was just whooping everyone's ass, because I would just hop into one skeleton and then I would hop into another one and then I would hop into another one, because that's essentially what you're looking to do. Or if the survivors get to too much of a, like, a frightened state or fear, which you will see later when we're playing, the killer can possess you and start attacking others. However, my game was very difficult because everyone decided to play as Ash.
Yeah.
So I didn't know who it was. So I would like hop into one Ash and I'm like, okay, I'm hitting one Ash and I'm like, oh man, he's at 10%. And then I would hit another, like I would think I was continuing to hit the same person. And it's like, wait a second, he's at 90%. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
And so you're just like whipping around trying to figure it out. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if you can do this with other, like, I don't know if it's one specific hero that can do this, but I just randomly got like exercised to another side of the map.
Yes.
And I was just like, okay.
Yeah. Evil Dead 2 Ash, I think that is, right?
Yeah, you
do
can
that?
cast people out.
It was so annoying because it would just be like, and then you have this like woman in your ear and she's just like, you pathetic piece of shit. Why have you let them get? And I'm like, girl, what the fuck?
Like I'm like, look, I'm trying to win this war, okay? I'm not going to win every battle, but like, give me some credit here. I got one of them at least.
And she's just like, they got another piece of the Necronomicon. Have you given up? And I'm like, no, like, stop judging me. Like, I know that you're angry and you're like, I don't know the book itself. I don't know who you are. Like, girl, chill.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, who is she?
It's Linda. It's the Linda voice from Evil Dead 2. So basically, by the way, when you do the dagger or the pages, when you complete them, it then casts you far away. So that way the survivors have a chance to run to the other item.
Oh.
So that's what happens.
Gotcha.
Okay. Well, we'll see that later on.
Yeah.
The way you described it, though, as like you're not supposed to win individual battle, you're supposed to win the war, is 100% how you're supposed to play it. Because the survivors have usually a good start always, because they get leveled up pretty quickly.
Yes.
But then they start slowing down towards like the later half of the game, and they have very limited resources on how they can heal, how they can do certain things. So they have to very much strategize when exactly they use items. And then as a demon, you have basically unlimited resources. Like the little orbs around you, they respawn after a while. Yeah. So you can technically stay in an area for almost an infinite game if you wanted to. So it's definitely about winning the battle. So you, as survivors, the big thing is like, hey, we need to do all this quick before the demon powers up too much. And as a demon, you want to kind of keep them stuck long enough so they waste enough time for you to level up.
Yes.
And it's honestly, I like the dynamic. It plays very much like an RTS on the demonic side, where it's like you're slowly leveling up, building your resources, leveling up your character. That way, when you can finally just like Zerg rush the shit out of them towards the end, and then as Survivor, you're supposed to stop that from happening. So it's honestly, I'm having a lot of fun with the idea. If we can keep it with friends, because playing with randoms is not fun. It's not a great experience. It's a little bit of a mess. It's definitely that Friday the 13th feel, where you feel very much alone in a game that's obviously a multiplayer game.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Yeah, Aaron, I know we've been talking about the game, and I know that you're definitely going to be playing with us soon on it. But like, what is your experience with like the Evil Dead franchise? Like, you've seen the movies, read any of the books or anything like that?
Oh, I love the movies. I haven't watched the Showtime show, which I need to. But absolutely adored the 3 movies in high school and college, growing up with those. Yeah, so that's why I'm very, very intrigued. I haven't gotten into a ton of asymmetrical type games like this. Like, I think I've only played Dead by Daylight a few times, and that's about it. I missed Friday the 13th entirely, but because of the IP, this one intrigues me the most. Love Bruce Campbell, love Ash, love like all of that. And it's very Sam Raimi. I love that Sam Raimi made the first one trying to be strictly horror, and people actually thought there was a lot of good humor in it. So then the second one, he's like, okay, well, we'll just try to sprinkle in some humor. And then by the third one, he was like, no, fuck it. We're just going to go full humor with like a little bit of horror sprinkled in. Army of Darkness is actually my favorite of the franchise. I think they're wonderful. I love that movie. So yeah, no, I'm excited to try it. My concern and why I didn't pick it up was exactly what you guys just talked about. I don't know if I have that group that will play it consistently that I can jump in with, and I wasn't sure I could pull the trigger on $40 just to not have a group to play with and feel like what you guys were saying, like, oh, I'm just with a bunch of randoms and we're not really working together.
You need a Fiona or a Mario to just pay for the game for you. So
right, 100%.
It's definitely they do have single player missions though. They have like little individual missions. I will say that some of them are better than others. Some of them are really kind of like, wow, okay, this is actually telling the Evil Dead story through like, a mission. And then others are just like, hey, go grab some cans of beer for this thing. They're all kind of intertwined within, like, if you've ever seen anything Evil Dead related, like there's an Ash versus Evil Dead scene, which like it comes from the show, but it's just a scene where you just go grab beer.
Yeah.
But there's definitely cool little scenes like that, and they have a promise to make more single player content for this game in the future. So it's definitely one of those things where like it's definitely going to get better with time. But right now, I wouldn't say, unless you have that core group of friends, then definitely like I would definitely say skip it for right now.
I'm excited for the map, the next map that's coming out, which is Kandar Castle, which is straight out of Army of Darkness. So
Army of Darkness,
very excited about that.
I just want to explore that area. I just want to explore that castle, maybe the graveyard or something like that. You know what I mean? It's gonna be really cool.
Should be cool.
I have a feeling.
The lighthouse, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Oh, the lighthouse, yeah. And then Aaron, I see you've also been playing some very interesting games here. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. The first one, I think the conversation has waned over the last 3 months, obviously, when things are new and hot. Everybody wants to talk about it. I'm still playing Elden Ring. I'm 115 hours in. And just cruising through some bosses, exploring everything I can. I got to the like final area, but I hadn't unlocked the rest of the map because this game is so wild that you can just fly through it if you don't want to explore anything, really. But I'm going to. So I bounced out of that once I had a site of grace that I could come back to, and now I'm just kind of like picking off map pieces, looking for new bosses, just kind of doing some cleanup stuff before I go and finish the game. And then secondly, I am playing through the Metal Gear series for the first time ever.
Let's fucking go. It's definitely a good year when I see more people playing Metal Gear. I love it. I love to see it.
So I grew up on Metal Gear 1. I absolutely adored Metal Gear 1. And I was racking my brain onto why I didn't ever jump into the rest of the series. I don't know. Like, I was a kid, so I didn't comprehend this story like at all in Metal Gear 1. I was 12 when that game dropped, and I just loved running around and jumping into boxes and all that kind of stuff. But I was like, you know what? No, this is a huge piece to gaming history, and I just want to know like what these are like. And I gotta say, like, I'm gonna play 2, 3 Sons of Liberty. If I can figure out how to play 4, I will, and then 5. But 2, man, that shit holds up. I've never played it, and usually I am very much an old games or old type of person. But I'm loving my time with 2. It is absolutely a delight, and I can't wait to jump into 3. The controls are a little clunky, like holding RB, and I'm playing on Xbox because that was literally the only way I could play it. RB and X to like first person shoot, and then you let go of X to like actually pull the trigger. There are some funky old ass controls going on. But for the most part, man, I am so intrigued by this story, and I'm loving the cinematics, and I don't really care how old it looks. It's like, this is awesome. I got home about an hour and a half before this podcast started, and I was like, that's enough time for Metal Gear. And that's what I did with my time. I came down and I played some Metal Gear 2 before jumping into this.
I love to hear it, dude. I honestly, one of my favorite series of all time. Very much the same way you kind of started, the same way I started. I was like 4 or 5 years old. It was the only game I had for my PlayStation 1 at the time. I didn't even know I owned a PlayStation 1 at the time. But like, I'll go to my dad's house one day. He has a PlayStation there. Metal Gear Solid 1's on there. Started playing it and then fell in love with it. Didn't understand the story as a kid. Didn't even understand how to do anything. But running in boxes, hitting like you're karate chopping enemies and just doing all that. It was fun. You know, you didn't have to care about the story. Until way years later where I was like 13, 14. I'm like, you know what, let me go ahead and play through the series again, you know, just kind of, you know, figure out what's actually going on in the story. And it's been a blast. And I'm so glad you're playing 2, because 2 is one of those games that I hated as a kid, but absolutely love as an adult.
I think I wouldn't have enjoyed it as a kid either. I was so fascinated by the idea of Solid Snake and this like badass espionage character and all of that. And that was one of my first thoughts when I got to the second level as the plant as Ryden. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I would have liked this as a kid, like leaving Solid Snake's story and having to be some other character that I don't know and I don't get. But to me, I was like, oh shit, we're not just going to be Solid Snake the whole time. Like as an adult, I was like, yeah, this is dope. I'm excited. So yeah. Absolutely loving it.
How far are you in your playthrough of 2 right now?
Just beat the first mission as the plant. So I've done one is Solid Snake where you blow up the tanker, and then you go ahead 2 years and you play as Ryden.
Oh yeah, we definitely got to talk after you finish the story because it was a blast.
Honest, you gave me a panic moment that I might have accidentally named myself after a Metal Gear character. I did not. It's spelled differently. We're all good.
Yeah,
it is spelled differently. It is. Yes.
Like
written like Ryden, as in like Mortal Kombat Ryden, like Riaden.
Yes.
Which for the life of me, I've always pronounced Raiden. And it wasn't until this game when they were like, he's like, I'm not going to be Snake anymore. And he's like, no, you're Ryden. I was like, that's how you pronounce that? Holy shit. I had no idea.
Yeah, I think I saw the way they said that first before I actually saw how they say it in Mortal Kombat. So I don't know how they say it in Mortal Kombat.
They say Raiden, so I'm gonna say Raiden is Mortal Kombat. Ryden is this. They're the same word,
and they are absolutely spelled the exact same way.
Color
at this point. But yeah, that's great. I'm glad more people are playing Metal Gear. It's definitely a series that like it holds dear to my heart. And then speaking of Metal Gear, what I've been playing this week is technically a sequel to what Aaron's playing, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. This is very much I still think it's non-canon because they throw out a lot of stuff that happens in the series and just kind of rolls with the goofiness of it. So there's no real kind of spoilers here or anything like that. But yeah, no, I've been having a blast with this game. I've been playing it on, as a kid, I played this on easy because this game is absolutely difficult. But I said, you know what? Adult me can absolutely roll this game. And this game rolled the shit out of me at the beginning. It is really, really tough. The combat is surprisingly tight. It's very simplistic. It's not like it's not like Devil May Cry 5 level of like, you can do an infinite combo. Eventually your combo will end and it's usually like a 4 to 5 button press to even do the combo. But the fun comes in with the bosses of this game, in my opinion, and the bosses of this game are just absolutely just fun. It's the 1v1 arena style old school boss battle kind of combat where it's just you and a mechanic, and that's basically it. It's honestly the game I needed to play right now, just because like there's just a lot of games to play right now, and I just wanted something that's not too crazy, but something that'll still put a smile on my face. And this game has definitely been that. I challenged myself to do all the bosses without getting hit on hard. So there's achievements for this game on Steam, and 5 of them are like, hey, complete this boss without getting any damage on hard. And it's like, okay, I could do that. And then it took me about 15 hours to get them all done, and it was almost my Xbox controller almost suffered a casualty because I almost chucked it across the room. But no, it was a blast. I've been having a ton of fun with this game. If anybody in the audience is even thinking about playing Metal Gear Solid: Revengeance, even if you don't even like Metal Gear, I think this game is so far away from the Metal Gear formula, but still somehow retains the soul of the game just enough that it's okay for anybody to kind of jump in and play it. You know what I mean? You don't need to know what happened in 4 to 5. You don't need to know any of that stuff. You just go in, do some cool cyborg ninja stuff, and just have a blast. It's a lot of fun.
That sounds dope. I will probably check it out during my playthrough.
Yeah, and it's short. It's like if you play it on like easy normal, you're looking at like 7 hours easy.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, it's not a long game. But moving on from what we've been playing, guys, what have we been watching? This is a new way we're just kind of like, separating the things. That way we're not all just having like, hey, I've been play, watch, reading all in one kind of go. So we're kind of separating them to make them a little bit easier to digest in like, an audio format or something like that. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and start with Mario, because I think this is the funniest title ever. Men 2022. What is Men 2022?
Yeah, I just been watching Men, and honestly, we're gross. Really fucking gross, gotta say. Last night after work, I decided to go to the movies, to a new theater, and I was checking out Alex Garland's new film, Men, which, of course, he has directed films such as Sunshine, Ex Machina, Annihilation, and then this is his latest film, Men, starring Jessie Buckley and Roy Kinnear. It is man, it's hard to describe this movie. I ultimately, at the end of the movie, didn't like it, but I wanted to talk about it because I think it's one of the most gorgeous movies I've seen. It's Alex Garland knows how to pick his cinematographers, and I think this is definitely a beautiful looking film, cinematically, visually, with the cinematographer. But in terms of the overall message at the end, I ultimately think it falls flat in a way that I was actually kind of shocked by, because I really love Ex Machina, I really love Annihilation, but for some reason the ending to me just didn't add up to what I think the movie is actually about. So the movie, to just sort of summarize, is a movie about a woman who has gone through a traumatic event with her husband. She decides to take a vacation across the countryside, and she is sort of tormented from that experience. Not to spoil what any of that is, because I think that's important to enjoy the movie. I think that the movie overall does this sort of heavy-handedness with the concept of what women go through in a way that I think is less about like trying to talk about why it's bad versus just trying to just be visually like, isn't that fucking gross, or isn't that weird? Like she basically goes to this town, and the whole premise of you see the movie is every man in this town is played by the same actor, but he is different characters. The movie never initially points it out that she recognizes that everyone looks the same. It's just sort of taken by fact that every man in the movie, other than her husband is played by a different actor, is this man, Roy Kinnear. Even like a child is even him. It's really, really bizarre, and probably the worst CGI in the movie. But other than that, the concept of sort of like these archetypes of like men in power, men in, just in daily lives. Like for instance, the person that she's renting the cottage from is kind of weird, and like this weird 60s, like this motif. And while I find it interesting for a movie to tackle that thing, where it goes in the end to me doesn't add up, specifically the last scene. And I don't want to spoil much, but there's some really fucking weird fucking shit in this movie that is fascinating, but I don't want to spoil it. Yeah, PiP?
So
Yes?
I decided to go on the Google.
Yes. Did you look up the spoilers?
Well, one, I can barely read. So no, there's a specific article that I just read by Polygon that actually makes me kind of want to watch this film. Would you like to know what his inspiration was with some of the editing and storylines in the movie?
I'm curious.
This is Attack on Titan.
Oh,
Final
it's
Fantasy
inspired
15.
by a fucking Attack on
Yeah,
Titan. He
I
said,
can see that.
with that in mind, he dodges any specific questions about where he was in the process of writing and making the film when he had an inspiration. There are Attack on Titan-like changes that continue to occur through the shooting process and through the editing process. I want to see this movie because apparently he was inspired by Attack on Titan, and he talks about it at length in this article. That's a very short clip, by the way.
Yeah.
Would highly
I
recommend
mean,
it.
I'll say this: there's a straight up naked man through a majority of this movie, and it's
Okay, so that's
off-putting and
Attack on
weird.
Titan. Yeah, there's naked people all over the place in
I don't know.
movie.
I don't want to spoil what happens at the end. But the end is very provocative, and it doesn't hold back CGI wise. But I'll tell you. I'll just say this.
I don't know how I feel about that description either.
Wow.
I'm just like, wait, what?
While the final act was happening, someone in my theater took a picture of the screen because they wanted to show that to their friend what was happening. I'll tell you guys off air what it was if you really want to know. But I personally, like I said, I think going to see the movie is fine. I think if you are interested in seeing even the concept of this, even if it's a failure in my mind, just to see how he would deliver the story about a woman who, has gone through some shit. But ultimately, I just think that it trying to deliver the message, that men can be evil. I just don't think it just does a good job in really exploring that personally. And, I think men are bad. There's a lot of bad shit that we can potentially do and harm people. I just don't think this movie perfectly illustrates it in the way that I think that he thinks he's doing it. And I think that's a lot probably with the editing process. And so I would love to hear other people's opinions of it. I think Kale actually was really excited to see this movie. So I might bring back PiP chat or something and just like have someone come over and talk about it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I have a slight question for you, Mario. Are you planning on seeing Crimes of the Future?
That is another one. So the trailer played before the movie, and you know what? That's again one of those movies that is not my jam, specifically body horror in that weird way. But that's very similar to this movie. So I'll say I'm gonna see it just because it's a David Cronenberg movie, but it is definitely not my jam. I'm definitely not a body horror-y person, even though I love Evil Dead and that has some shit right there, but there's more demons than anything.
I'm just for the listeners. It definitely gives Cassandra O'Brien from Doctor Who, if you are familiar with the Doctor Who franchise.
Yeah.
It's very much like if they took that idea and then made it so gory that Netflix refuses to put it on the platform.
Yeah, it's just how can I describe it? I'm not a Hellraiser fan. That's the best way I could describe it, right? The sort of like pleasure and death thing. Like for some reason, I'm just not into it, and that movie feels like that.
Neither am I.
So that's why I'm not looking forward to it. But I'm willing to see. I actually signed to back up for A-List, so I could specifically go to movies again. And so I'm definitely going to try to see as much as I can.
Yeah, I just feel like last week I was seeing articles about it nonstop, and then since Men came out, it's like bam. Now it's all like every post I see specifically about horror. Maybe just because I'm specifically interested in horror. Not anyway. No, it's just like I'm like, wait a second. I like even tried to Google like Crimes of the Future, and I'm like, I can't even find it because like if you look at even the keywords that were used specifically for that movie, is now being covered up by men, which I'm not shocker once again. But no, it just seems like it's just completely gone off of people's radars, maybe because it's still pending release.
Yeah.
But no, I don't plan on watching Crimes of the Future. I'll watch I'll watch a kill count for it by all means,
for sure.
because I know there's going to be one, but I'm not going to watch that myself because I could barely make it through Fresh, let alone any other body horror nonsense. So
just people taking parts out of each other. I'm just not not me, fam. But yeah, that's Men 2022. I watch Men.
Oh yeah. Fee, what have you been doing this week? What have you been watching?
Okay, well, I'm going to start off with the one that might interest some people. So I've decided that I'm going to watch all the Marvel films. And
Please hold on real quick, Fee.
Yeah, sure.
What do you mean? Like you've never watched?
No, I have.
Okay.
What I'm planning on doing, because I would like, because a lot of people, and I would like to specifically say, and I've noticed a lot of articles are mentioning the fact that you'll enjoy Doctor Strange, the new Doctor Strange movie more if you have a context of or basis of all the films. And I'm like, okay, as someone who likes lore, one, and two, I just wanted to kind of prepare myself before I saw the movie. I'm like, you know what, why not? I'm just gonna go watch all the films. Mind you, I skipped freaking the Incredible Hulk because as much as
I love that you did, because this week She-Hulk the trailer came out and it features
it's terrible. I'm sorry. I love lawyers, and I'm gonna talk about lawyers in just a second here. But like, God for fucking bid, like I'm gonna be honest, she's a beautiful actress. They Sonic the Hedgehog her. Like, what the fuck are they doing?
Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's too aggressive.
That's aggressive.
I mean,
Too aggressive.
Okay, no,
I
let me
would
say.
have her carry me.
Okay. I think she looks good. But here's the thing. It's like the best way to kind of describe it is they put the CGI budget into the Hulk, and then they're like, okay, what are we gonna do with the She-Hulk? Let's just make her green. She's been working out. We can just make her that way. And like, I'm gonna be honest, the She-Hulk is supposed to I'm not saying that she's not fit. By all means, do not come at me, listeners. But what I'm saying is, like, it looked like they just didn't put as much, I don't even know, effort.
Well, there was an article today that said Disney actually asked them to back off of how muscular she was, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Why can't she be
needs to
muscular?
Shut up. Disney needs to shut up.
Yeah, like, honestly, like, have you
Agreed.
seen the comics? She's supposed to be buff.
Yeah.
Just because she's a woman doesn't mean she can't be fucking buff. That's ridiculous.
I assume
But to say that she's Sonic, that's
Sonic.
I don't know
No,
about that.
okay,
egregious.
Have you
Especially,
seen Ugly Sonic recently? He's on the up and up. We'll talk about that later.
he's on the up and up. We're talking about that later.
Yeah, he's on the up and up. No, what I'm specifically stating by that, I'm just saying that they're trying to make something that should be more on the edge of, like, I guess in this case, out of the realms of the norm, because they apparently told them to edit down her muscles to, like, when it came to Sonic, they were trying to make them look more realistic. That's what I meant. I didn't mean, like, ugly,
I
crazy,
get what you mean.
weird-eyed.
Yeah.
I agree with you on the sense of, like, the CGI in this is outrageously bad. People keep saying, like, oh, well, it's 3 months out, they have time to fix it, and I'm like, when has that ever been true? But then again, like, at the same time, it's not a show that I'm super hyped for, so I guess, like, personally, I don't care as much.
I'm ready for it.
There are people out there who were really looking forward to the show, and then I can imagine the disappointment when they saw the CGI in it, because at least to me, the way that looks when the main character of your show has bad CGI and it's a CGI character, right, is that they're not as important as another character who has better CGI, right?
Yeah.
And it to me, that's what it kind of pushes out. And I can imagine a lot of people are being very mean about it, but also very, like, passionate about it, because this is a character people like, and it does disappoint an audience of people, even if we don't like it or not, right?
I guess.
Yeah, no.
God.
Okay, no, you go ahead, Mario.
No, I was gonna say, like, from what I've seen in the show, and then, you know, even like the comic books, like, it looks to me very close. I mean, yes, there are moments in the comic where she's definitely more hulked out for sure, and they can still do that in the show. I mean, the fact that the Hulk itself, he gets bigger when he gets madder, so I can totally see that still happening. But it's like, this is a person that lives majority of her life green, but not necessarily like, I'm breaking everything all the time. Like, that's her normal life. Again, this is the beginning of it. So I'm that's why I give it, to me, honestly, it looks totally fine for a television show that's going to be 9 episodes. But at the same time, I get it. I understand people are upset.
Yeah, no, that's the only thing.
What's up, Aaron?
I didn't realize it was going to be 9 episodes. That's actually my biggest gripe right now with Disney Plus. I'm excited that this is 9 episodes. I am so tired of this 6-episode formula. Every single show they put out that's 6 episodes, I feel is 2 episodes short.
My problem now, though, is
100%.
that it's going to have a drip feed that's going to go on forever.
That's what I felt with Moon Knight, though, Aaron. Like, I felt Moon Knight with an extra 2 episodes probably would have been a lot better, and it just felt rushed by the end of it. It was just like, by the time we hit the end of it, I feel like we could have had more of, like, one certain character's perspective if the show was 9 episodes.
Yeah.
The biggest problem
Me
with
and Mario talked all about it, not to promote another show for PiP. But that was one of my points, is I wish it had more episodes.
You were saying, Sly?
100%.
You're saying, Sly?
I was just saying the biggest problem with the 6-episode shows is they wrote them like a movie, right?
Yes.
It was written as, you know, every 2 episodes is an act of a movie, and you didn't have an individual arc throughout the episodes. They really just need to get people who know how to write television.
Totally.
All of these writers are are movie writers, and they don't know how to craft a compelling TV show.
Yeah. If you want 6 episodes, make it a 2.5 hour movie. If you want more than that, make it an 8 to 9 episode TV show. Yeah. That seems to be where the disconnect is, because Moon Knight is weird, where I could either take 2 more episodes to flesh it out, or I can absolutely see where you could tighten that up to 2.5.
Yeah, in an actual movie instead. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. No, I'm hoping that it goes well for She-Hulk. But no, I'm excited to go through it. I've only gone through currently just Iron Man and Iron Man 2. I did try to skip through the Incredible Hulk because as much as I like Norton, I just could not do it. The weird breathing at the beginning was weird. I was just
So
like,
bad.
do I really need to see this? Like, the only thing I needed to see was at the end, so I skipped to the end. I watched a little bit of the other stuff. Like, I think that it was a thing. So I skipped that one. Essentially
The
for the most
concept of
part.
him like even getting turned on could turn him into the Hulk is like the most
Oh
egregious.
yeah, the heart rate scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where they're like making out and he's like, "Oh, we can't do this. My heart rate." And I'm like, that's not how this has ever literally ever worked. Yeah.
No.
Brutal.
Yeah, just weird concepts to put in the movies. It's like one of those back at like little kid talks at the like lunch table. Just like, do you think Hulk pops a boner when he has sex?
Right?
Let's throw that in the movie.
Speaking of boners, Fia, I would like to say I would like to have a debrief maybe on MC University of your rewatch of the show, since we don't normally talk about the old movies, so to have someone kind of going through again would be fun. I don't know, personally.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So I definitely plan on watching more of them. Because of course I'm going through all of them, but I plan on watching some this weekend. And then hopefully, I'm not trying to set like a specific pace for myself, or at least like I need to have this many done by this date. But I will definitely make sure to keep everyone kind of like up to date as to where I am in the actual series. Because I'm really interested, because I want to make sure that when I actually watch Madness that I'm like, okay, now I understand these particular references, or at least having them fresh in my mind.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that you're not necessarily a newbie to the MCU because you've seen certain shows and stuff like that. So in terms of just like going in from the beginning, like so far, have you noticed anything's kind of clicked a little bit more now that you've seen certain scenes that you might have missed before?
I feel like when it came to one, I'm gonna be honest, I forgot the entirety that Widow was his assistant for Iron Man 2. Like, I've completely forgot about that. And then just like a few of the mentions, like when he was in the cave and when he was with the specific scientist, and he said, "I've given you your life, you need to not waste it." And I feel like you see that throughout the entirety of with Tony, is like he's realizing like, I obviously am making up for my family's mistakes, and now I have to go through and actually like defend like what I believe in. Which I think also ended up with a lot of issues when it came to Civil War, where he's just like, this is why I'm doing this. So I'm really interested to see more of that, and I'm actually kind of happy that it's a little bit more Tony centric, a little bit.
Mhm.
And then I think the next one I'm on is Thor.
Yeah.
Which is I love the Thor. I love Thor. And I'm really
We'll
excited.
see after you see this movie if you still love Thor. It's definitely a hit and miss with a lot of people.
Well, I mean, fair. I am looking the new Thor movie though. I'm really looking forward to that.
No, new Thor movies, top tier.
Yeah. Also, the fact that there's definitely some weird vibes going on between Thor and Star-Lord. So that's gonna be fun. But yeah, I think I'm really excited to go through it again. And then by the time I finish, it's probably Doctor Strange is going to be on Disney Plus, so it's going to make it a lot easier for me.
Actually, yeah, that would actually be a pretty good strategy right there.
Yep.
Did you want to give us an update on Depp versus Herd?
Oh, why
Depp versus
not?
Herd watch.
Yeah, the Herd watch.
The Herd watch? Okay.
Herd watch.
Well, if you need to watch some really great content that had everyone like essentially like on their toes, and apparently because we have had a lot of like updates in regards to the actual jury, you cannot see the jury's face throughout the entirety of the trial. There are some people that I watch on YouTube, Legal Bites, one of the guys who's actually been on her channel, Ian, actually got to go, he went to Virginia and has now been sitting in the courtroom every few days. There were some line cutters, which, by the way, fuck you, line cutters. But no, apparently they were like super bored until Camille, the superstar fucking attorney, came out and just ripped Amber a new one. And you could really tell that Amber could not handle herself. By the way, there's a major difference between donating and actually pledging, which she found out, even though she believes that donations are like as if you buy a house, you're not going to pay them up front. even though she specifically told everybody, yeah, I have paid the full $7 million. And yeah, there was a few other times. Also a great highlight, Johnny Depp's lawyer saying Amber Turd multiple times because they had a data analyst for Amber, and he's just like, so you think that these specific hashtags are detrimental to Amber Heard's career, starting off with justice for Johnny, and then just a few others, and then said Amber Turd. So you feel as though Amber Turd is very detrimental to Amber Heard's specific view. But no, it's been a very, very kind of roller coaster week. After Camille left, though, it kind of just became a little bit boring for me. But yeah, would highly recommend if you are interested in any sort of like law or you want to catch up. Next week, I believe they're wrapping up because as of right now, I don't know how Amber's team now only has 8 hours. After the 8 hours is up, they get cut off and they're not able to do anything anymore. So Johnny Depp can just bring in people and actually interview a bunch of people because they have 10 extra hours. So once Amber Heard's team, even if they're in the middle of a question, the judge will cut them off and they are no longer allowed to add any sort of information, questioning, or anything like that. So yeah, it was honestly, other than the Camille stuff, which if you like, that was at the beginning of the week, which was a very good cross between just cross-examining Amber Heard. It was definitely a roller coaster. I know I talked about it a lot when we were playing Evil Dead earlier in the week.
Yeah.
And I know
the llamas too earlier.
the llamas, yeah, and also the fact that they thought it was a really great idea to talk to a Walt Disney executive, saying, "Did you hear that Johnny Depp would not come back to he would not come back to the Pirates of the Caribbean 6 even for $300 million and 100,000 llamas, like alpacas, sorry." And he just started bursting out laughing because there's been 2 alpacas just vibing. There's a girl who has support alpacas and she dresses them up like characters from the Pirates, like she's dressed them up as Captain Jack Sparrow, and there's pictures online line of them posing with him.
Yeah, every time you describe this court case, I swear it's like the WWE of like fucking court cases. I have no idea if this is an act or if this is real half the time you tell me this. It's so ridiculous, just the amount of just weird shit is coming out of this court case for something that should be just so cut and dry when you think about it.
Yeah, also there's like an entire scene where she's just like, okay, so you abused Johnny Depp, and she's like, no, I didn't, I never touched him. And then they're like, okay, bring this specific recording, and she says out loud, yes, I was being physical, yes, I smacked you. And I'm like, okay, so what the fuck was that? So what are you going on
court case, I guess.
Yeah. But no, it's been a wild ride. That's all essentially I've been like watching overall. Yeah, and I'm midway through a
It's like celebrity TV, right? When you think about it.
I mean, it's celebrity TV, but then also in the same time, it's just an example of just a very toxic relationship and people lying and now realizing that you can't just lie on you can't lie on the stand and not think that you're going to like perjury is not going to get involved, because right now Amber Heard's being investigated by us, like a group, like a law group in Australia for perjury. So good job everybody.
Nardog.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But
no,
yeah, anyway, go ahead, Pete.
No, you go ahead.
Oh no, if you have anything else to say on the Amber Heard stuff, go ahead.
Yeah, hashtag justice.
It's just for Depp, dude.
Yeah, no, that was the ending of the cross-examination from Johnny's team. He's just like, oh, so you think that justice for Johnny is a good hashtag? And he's like, that's not what I was paid to do. And he's just like, so do you believe in justice? And he's like, yes, I do. I believe in justice. And he's like, so do I. And then he closed the book and walked away. So that's
so do I.
Justice.
Nardog says, Harv, you look a little different. Yeah. Yeah. This is British Harv.
This is the third. I guess one of the other fantastic hosts of Speaking of Stadia, and also the co-host of Give Me 20, which by the way, it is Give Me 20 Day. So if you haven't already, I'm gonna link your actual merch page in the
May
chat.
20.
Yes, please.
May 20.
And
I
actually, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
There's a weird latency on my end because, like, I swear, like, I hear like a little bit of like moments of silence, and then I'm like, okay, there's some silence here. I could actually like do that, and it's like, nope. But yeah, speaking of like Marvel and stuff, and Disney, Aaron, I see here you've been rewatching some stuff leading up to Kenobi here.
Yeah, me and the kiddo, we love Star Wars, all things Star Wars. I won't grab my camera because it'll be too much of a pain in the ass to reset. But like, I have the trilogy posters over here. I have a Mando poster over there. Like big ass Star Wars nerd. So any chance we get to rewatch this stuff, we are all in. And right now we're watching specifically just the prequel trilogy to get ready for this for Kenobi. So one, I can't get behind other than the Duel of the Fates at the end. Two warms up to me a little bit, though I think the acting is actually where it hurts it more than the writing. And then three, man, I used to hate on all of the prequels for a long time, but God, I love Revenge of the Sith at this point. It's so fun. It's the most Star Wars movie you can ask for, and I just adore it. Also, what redeemed it for me was Clone Wars. Watching all of Clone Wars and falling absolutely in love with that Anakin. Oh, yeah. No, give me those prequels all day.
Very question for you.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on Star Wars The Clone Wars, the animated movie?
Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. I watched that well before I ever watched the CGI show because I just love Star Wars. Yeah. No, absolutely dig it. The art style, I prefer the computer animated style, but no, super fun. So yeah, we've been watching that, and then it's weird that Stranger Things is been going on for so long that when this show started, my kid was absolutely not allowed to watch it, and now he's old enough to watch it. And we're only on season 4. Like,
Nice.
I absolutely understand global pandemic and all of that and all the things that delayed this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not complaining by any means, but it is wild to me that as season 4 is going to come out, and now my kid loves all things horror. He doesn't get to watch a lot of it, but man, if it's appropriate for him, I let it ride. One of his favorite things of all time is the original Alien movie. We watched Alien and Aliens.
Wow.
And I liked Aliens a lot more as a kid because I thought it was way more action packed. And he will like pick apart the horror elements of the original Alien movie and like what he loves about the tension building and all this stuff.
Wow.
So I was like, you know what? Fuck yeah. I was like, let's watch some Stranger Things.
That's a cool ass kid.
That's a cool ass kid because I would assume that the kids would think that movie at this point is boring because nothing really happens until midway. But that's awesome.
Yeah, and shout out to Christian and the Large Popcorn Podcast. They had him on to talk about the Alien
That's
movie.
incredible.
I'm
Yes,
pulling this up
so
right now. Is this
he
out
got
yet?
to do a whole podcast talking about Alien. He did this year. They had to write a report on somebody who is innovative in their field, and he wrote about how Ridley Scott changed the sci-fi horror game with Alien.
Hell yeah.
Kids rules.
Unreal. He's so cool. So yeah, I was like, all right, cool. Well, then we need to watch Stranger Things. And he is obsessed. He has loved every single episode we've watched. He is glued to it. We just finished season 3 last night. He is like counting down the days to next Friday.
That's so cool.
And honestly, through his lens, like I loved season 1. I liked season 2. I thought season 3 was okay.
Gotcha.
But watching it with him and like experiencing it through that lens, I was like, nope. 1 is fucking awesome, 2 is fucking awesome, and 3 is still pretty okay.
Yes.
I have some gripes with 3 personally, but man, I don't know. So we're stoked for Friday. It's obviously Memorial Day weekend, so our only plans next weekend is to watch the first 2 episodes of Kenobi and the first 4 episodes of Stranger Things. We are locked and loaded and ready to go. So
Did you see the times for that show? It's crazy.
I think I would have hated it if I wasn't enjoying it with him so much.
Good.
My only concern, which it'll be July, so it's fine, is the finale. 2.5 hours for the finale.
They
is
just
wild.
made 3 full-length movies and just decided those are episodes, and I'm like, that's wild.
Let's
And
go.
is this
Very
ending
wild.
the series? Like, is that what they said? Like, I
Nope.
don't even know.
Season 5 is going to be the finale.
What the fuck?
Yeah, we have
Isn't
one
this a
more
part 1,
season
part 2?
after this.
Yeah, it's part
Yeah.
1, part 2, but the first are like normal lengthy. Well, I mean, they're an hour and 15, but then
Hour
like
15, which is still 30 minutes longer than
Yeah.
most of the episodes.
wild.
Yeah,
Wow.
they said this season is 5 hours longer than any other season of Stranger Things.
Damn.
That's 5 more episodes. Essentially.
Stranger Things fans are eating.
Isn't
Yeah.
the actual budget 30 million per episode?
Yes.
Per episode.
Did they got more of a
Yes.
budget than the Halo TV show?
Probably.
Mhm.
Wasn't that like $10 an episode? Oh, that's just the clips I watched. I don't know.
Damn. You're not wrong. But yeah, on the note of that, Sly, what have you been watching? Sorry, I looked at
so I
reading
watched
for a second. I
two
was like, what?
things This week, I went to an early access screening of Downton Abbey: A New Era. Spoiler alert, sorry, Fee, nobody got thrown out a window.
Fuck.
But
0 out of 10.
due
Yeah.
to technical issues with the captions, I missed a solid chunk in the early middle of this movie that I just didn't get to experience, and it is still my favorite story in this entire universe. There's one thing I've been asking for, hoping for, dreaming for since I started, enjoying Downton Abbey, and this movie gives it to us. And I cried like a baby, probably not at the part that made other people cry, but oh man, it gave me everything I could ever ask for in this universe. And it was the usual Downton, great, all the costumes are great, the music's great, the sets are beautiful, it's a fun story. It's more Downton, which is, all you could really ask for. But yeah, they did something really cool with my favorite character, and it just made my heart really happy. But the manager who's dealing with the technology issue with the captioning was really nice, which is a rarity. So that was really refreshing, because going to movies that aren't open captioned suck, and usually people who work at theaters have no clue what's going on and are kind of jerks about it, but this person was very nice, so that was great.
It's good to hear.
And then on Twitter, Allie Plum was like, everybody needs to watch Chippendale Rescue Rangers, and I'm like, you know what, Allie Plum, I trust you with my life, I'll watch this movie. And this stars it stars more than 2 notable people, but 2 people I want to talk about. It has J.K. Simmons, known for starring alongside Sebastian Stan in a hit movie, I'm Not Here.
Okay.
I'm Not Here.
We gotta get it in the Sly universe. Got it.
You gotta get it in the Sly universe. And it also, unfortunately, has Anna Marie Tendler's ex-husband, which is all we refer to him as.
I don't even know who the fuck
But
that
other
is.
than that, it was great.
I don't know who that is at all.
You know who Anna Marie Tendler's ex-husband is.
Who is that? Hold on.
I don't even know who Anna Marie is.
I don't
Anna
think-
Marie-
I'm
I
afraid to
don't
type
know
Anna
his
Marie in
name.
Google, because that's definitely a porn name. So give me a second. Anna Marie.
But yeah, no. How was the film?
It was great. It knew what it was
Oh.
and
Yeah.
embraced it.
No.
And so I think that was to its benefit, because you get a lot of these type of films coming out lately that have not been hitting as much, but this one really embraced the
Yeah,
cheese.
John Mulaney. I was like, oh.
We don't say his name.
He's not
But-
Voldemort. It's not like he's out here killing muggles.
I don't even know who the hell this guy is. I'll be real with you.
He wrote on SNL and does stand up.
Did cheat on his wife?
Oh. Yeah, with Olivia Wilde.
Or Munn.
Whatever.
Munn.
We've
Munn.
given him
I
too
couldn't
much
remember.
They're both trending, by the way. Olivia Wilde and Munn are both
I
trending
mean,
underneath
Olivia
it.
Wilde definitely just recently got served while a actual conference was going on, and she was the one actually on stage.
That's what it was.
I love you, Jason.
I knew that we've heard a lot of Olivias lately.
I mean,
Olivia's,
maybe
what do
she
you-
shouldn't have avoided some lawyers, but
What's
I
going
mean,
on in the
that's on
Olivia
her.
world?
Well, I'll tell you later. Sly, tell me
So
about
if you're
Chippendales.
fighting somebody, I gotta ask: is it John Mulaney or is it Alexander Bell?
Both.
Oh,
Who's catching
no,
hands first?
John
Are we on
Mulaney's
the
not
street?
important
Like,
enough.
who's
to
getting
do that.
folded as soon as you see him?
Oh, Alexander Bell,
was
clearly.
it?
So he's not.
He's not important enough to get beaten up.
No.
We don't
Nice.
care about him.
If I see you on the street, what was his name? John Mulaney?
John
It's on
Mulaney.
site. It's on site.
On site.
I mean, I'm kind of like, it's like a ton of a toss up because he's like one of the only people that actually comes to Halifax because like no one comes to Halifax, and like he's been here like twice or 3 times in the past like 7 years. But like also fuck him. I don't know. It's just
So Chippendales.
Yeah, how was that Chippendales movie
It was-
with
it was
the
great.
makeup artist's ex-husband that you won't say?
Besides Anna Marie Tindler's ex-husband being in it, it was great. It was fun. It felt like a love letter to, the history of various animation styles, and it really embraced the silliness and the mixed media aspect, which I
Yeah.
thought was really fun.
The one thing I'm getting from the clips of this movie that I see at least are that this movie knows that it stars a bunch of washed up animated characters and knows it's a bunch of washed up animated characters. So I'm kind of into that idea. Is that the movie?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, cool.
The story is about bootlegging and off-brand washed up
I'm into
characters.
it.
It's great.
That I'm into.
There's also one cameo that really got me excited, and it may or may not relate back to a universe that Fee has mentioned. She's
Attack on Titan.
but I won't say anything more than that because I thought
I
it was
love
really
it. I just know that this movie is supposedly it's done by the Lonely Island guys. It is the new version of Roger Rabbit, basically, and he's also in the trailer, so that's even funnier. And then what I love is it said that it kills Sora from Kingdom Hearts in it, so I'm okay with it.
Oh hell yeah! Okay, I definitely want to watch this movie now.
And we get the return of a very infamous character. Very
also, I was kind of slightly concerned because there's like Chip and Dale, and then there's Chippendales, and the way that you guys said it sound like Chippendales, and I'm like, why is Sly talking about exotic dancers without shirts?
Funny you say that. In the trailer, they make fun of that immediately.
They absolutely call that out.
They call it
I
out.
mean-
like, not
Yeah.
these guys, these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like the way that you said it, I'm like, why is Sly talking about this? I mean, like, I'm not complaining. I'm just
Why
like,
not.
I mean, like, Sly, do what you want to do, but like,
Chippendales
what the
movie
fuck?
starring Sebastian Stan.
Yeah. I'm into this. I'm into the idea of this movie though, because I love dumb movies like this that take like old IPs and instead of just making them seem like they're the shit even today, instead just roll with the idea that like probably like 10 people remember this series like fondly and like everybody else just kind of remembers it when they were a kid and that's really kind of about it.
I think every single person, there's one moment. Every single person is going to have one background character that they're going to go, oh my gosh, that's so-and-so from this thing.
Yeah,
So I think there's something for everybody in it.
I'm gonna have to
Mario.
check it out.
Yes.
Chat saying that you are getting an echo. You have 2 echoes.
Oh, weird.
Random
sound
side
like-
note, and this is a story about my work day, and I posted this in our PiP channel. I was teaching a training class, and this one girl, bless her, kept on like her mic would spike, so she sounded like a chipmunk from the Chipmunks, and I had to try not to laugh really hard because she'd be like, it would just spike, and she'd be like, "Can you hear me?" And I'm like, "Yep, I can." That just turn off your microphone, and it was so loud because for some reason it was just like clipping and it was very very like for some reason it sounded like she just turned up the volume on her microphone and I have to try to like keep on like other people were also noticing it as well, and so they would just like put laugh emojis in Zoom, which by the way you can react to certain things. So people just kept on like putting laugh emojis, and I'm like, okay, it's okay, just leave the Zoom call and join us again. And she'd come back and she'd like come with the same voice and she'd just say, ask like, is it better? And I'm like, no, it's not better. But no, it very much reminded me of Chip and Dale,
never
because
came back
whenever I
to
think of
work
Chip and
ever
Dale, I
again.
always think of like the Chipmunks. Which shocker, they're both all chipmunks, but
Definitely. So we're gonna move on to what we've been reading. And Fee, did that person's mic make you murder them on the Orient Express? That was bad.
that was
I need a way to segue
so
to murder
mad.
somehow.
Wow, great job. Good for you. You
Yeah.
really killed it. So I finished that really well, like really good once again. Definitely Audible if you're listening. Started listening to more books. I actually then started up Murder on the Nile, which by the way, I know last week I kept on saying Murder on the Orient Express. It's supposed to be Death on the Nile. That's the actual name of the book. I just kept on calling it Murder on the Nile the entire episode. And they're currently building up the characters, which is I did not know that they specifically did that, but they didn't do that in the last one because it was a theatrical type of I guess rendition of it, which was really well done. But the person who actually reads it, or the narrator, is Kenneth Branagh. But he's like a really
Kenneth
well-known
Branagh.
actor. Thank you, thank you.
It's Kenneth
Kenneth-
Barnes and Noble.
Oh yes,
He also
who
directed
I
Thor.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know it's hard to remember that, but yeah. Kenneth
I
Barnes and Noble.
know him from Hamlet. Like I watched that twice in school.
That's Shakespeare. You're confusing the two.
He played Hamlet in a movie.
That's
Aaron.
the joke.
Aaron.
That was the
I
Lion King I was
appreciate
talking about.
Mario muting his mic to facepalm into the mic. That was real nice.
Yeah. But no, that's all I've essentially been reading this week. I only got, I guess 3 chapters in, or at least that's considered 6 introductions to different characters. So I am probably halfway through right now. But no, once I finish that, I'm gonna watch both of the movies because they all have the same. Well, they don't have all the same characters because someone died in the first one. Shocker! There's a murder. But they have.
There's murder in this. I don't know how I would have been able to know that.
Spoilers for the movie. No, I'm not gonna say it.
Bro.
From a series that came out in the 30s. Like,
No, but
how
it's
is that?
It's a prominent actor that exists now that I could spoil it for. I don't want to.
I appreciate that because I still want to go back and watch them at some point.
Yeah, would highly recommend it. Because I know it was mentioned recently, in a specific case, but we're not talking about that right now. Yeah, it's a.
Are
you
know. Is
are
Amber
you
heard of
swearing?
these movies? And is she just guilty? God damn it! I feel like it got spoiled anyways. Damn
No, she's not in it.
I know everything about this movie now, Fee. How could you?
God.
Fee read my
get
lips,
it.
which was
The
funnier.
Murder on the Nile and the Death on the Oriental Express is just Amber Heard killing people.
Fucking Fee just doing a grumpy. All right.
God.
I'm just gonna
At any
say
point,
this
does
right up.
anybody poop on a bed at any point in this movie?
No,
Damn.
no,
Not even once.
Not even once. Just
Not
a little
even
bit.
We're
once.
still in
is
the first half of
killer.
the
She
show.
doesn't-
Just a little amber turding, just a little bit.
I'm just saying that there's
Amber
no
Turding.
Amber Turding. There's no nothing. No, that's none of that exists.
Why would I go watch this film
Human
then?
fecal matter.
I guess I will have
Because-
to listen to the book then.
Oh my god! Still, no one does that in the books either.
Yeah,
What are you
but-
talking?
Are you sure?
I think I'm positive. I
There's
mean,
at least
But you haven't finished the book, so you can't say.
Well, true. There's a lot of
100%.
room for turning around.
You said you're only halfway through.
I'm not even halfway through. I'm
See,
literally
so you
like,
can't tell me 100% that no one shits on someone's bed.
Bro. You can't
yeah.
say with any
I'm
certainty.
sorry. I don't know if anyone shits on someone's bed in Death of the Nile. Okay, I'll
Okay,
definitely.
well then stop saying
Maybe
it.
in the rewrite.
Son of a bitch. Yeah, the rewrite. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Oh, look
glad
what we've
you're
done to
enjoying it.
Mario.
Mario
He
is
has to
getting-
take a big old swig.
Mario, are you okay?
He's
Who
like, I'm
hurt
not
you?
dreaming about
Are you
people
okay?
shitting on a bed tonight. I need another
He is
drink.
literally covering his mouth right now because he's gonna spit out his fucking Bacardi like an idiot.
We keep making Mario
Nope,
laugh. He's
you
gonna
got
start
it down.
shitting all over his chair.
I didn't actually drink that. It was a joke. Continue.
You got a little bit of it.
Oh my god,
I
he
seen
directed. Oh, he directed it too. Oh my god,
shit.
this is
He's
fantastic.
spelled for and directed him and he did Thor
Okay.
and Hamlet.
Okay, I know. Okay, did he? Guys, I just heard, and I don't know if you know this. He directed Thor. Wow.
Did you know he also directed Thor? Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
know he directed Thor,
Oh
right?
my god, you guys! Pull
I'm
this
sorry,
every
I'm
single
derailing
week
the
on me, and the
podcast.
second that I try, you guys fucking come back at me, and I don't like this.
Reversed back.
I don't like this Uno reverse nonsense.
But
I have a
speaking
question.
of-
In Canada, does Uno have an extra U?
Okay.
No.
no. Anyway,
I'm Hispanic. I
speaking
allow
of
it.
reading,
I'm sorry it took this long for the air and energy to come out.
Oh my god, I was
This
just
is
waiting.
who
I'm like,
am.
I'm gonna be honest. This is typically the energy that I get from Aaron every
All
time we
the
do.
time.
Speaking of Stadia,
All
and
the
it's
time.
always just like him commenting and making like really weird puns for like specific
Not
sections.
weird, great puns.
Okay,
yeah,
well-
they're pretty good so far. Honestly, I mean, I'm enjoying them.
I mean, they're
you.
okay. They are definitely good. I feel bad for Jake when he tries, and then he's just like,
God.
guys, and we're like,
So,
like Jake, we're gone. It's not gonna happen.
we much love for Jake. If
I
you
love
listen
you,
to this right now,
Jakey.
Jake, we love you.
yeah. But so yeah, speaking of reading, I'm on the list here, but I'm illiterate and I can't read. So we're gonna move on to Aaron here. Aaron, you've been
Well-
reading Invincible.
We should talk really quick before I talk about reading Invincible.
Ooh,
We should
okay.
talk about the fact that PS Plus is the reason you can no longer read.
Yeah, no, because of PlayStation Plus and Jim
According-
Ryan and all those people,
Yeah.
I can't. My reading ability is absolutely
No,
gone.
no, no, no. It was
Yeah.
PS
According to Fee,
plus
PS Plus
lineup
equals Frank
equals
is illiterate.
illiterate.
Yeah, 100%. And I can't
Yeah.
read because of Fee's tweet. Honestly, like I look at
So-
words now and they don't say it. Just jumbled.
Damn it, PlayStation.
Damn.
Yeah.
Jim Ryan
Welcome to
wrote
being
you a letter
dyslexic, I don't
about
know.
abortion and his cats, and you were like, I can't read anymore.
It made me blind. I just couldn't.
I just
his cat post
I
is just
can
like, oh,
no
that's terrible.
longer comprehend words based
Oh
off
my
this
God.
letter to the employees.
Fucking A.
And I
Yeah.
get it. It's that mind numbing
It's-
that
it's-
it should ruin your ability
I
to
don't
read.
give a shit about your cat, Jim Ryan.
I don't care.
Yeah, fuck your cat. My cat's cooler anyway. My cat will fold your cat, Jim Ryan. But anyway, how's Invincible been treating you?
Oh my god, I love this fucking comic book.
It's
I
so
have
good.
5 volumes left. So there's 25 volumes of the like thinner, collections.
Mhm.
I just finished 20 and I have never read a comic book that is this good ever.
Oh yeah.
And like just I have a Batman tattoo, I have a Superman tattoo. Like I love me my comic books. And holy shit, I have never read anything as close to as good as Invincible. It is unbelievable how they constantly twist this story. At the end of season 1 of the Amazon show, like the big twist with his dad, which I won't even spoil here, but there's a big twist with his father. Like I was like, oh shit, this is going in a totally different direction. They have done that for 20 volumes.
Mhm.
And I can't believe it. At the end of every single volume, I am surprised at what they do. I am shocked at where they are headed. And I can't recommend this enough. It's unbelievable. Robert Kirkman Jesus, unbelievable when it comes to writing and storytelling and character development and what character development actually looks like. Like we can see peaks and valleys of characters on multiple points, which I think a lot of the times a disservice we do to storytelling is we take them in peaks and then they hit their ultimate valley and then we end their story. But characters in this comic just constantly hitting highs and lows and highs and lows. And Yeah, Jesus. If you're listening to this, please go read it. It's so good. It's so
It-
I
good.
remember back when the show came out, I went through and watched it, right? And then Frank and I sat down and Frank explained like every single thing they like it changed or didn't have from the story, and it was just mind-blowing. Like, the
yeah.
show was
From
great, and
like
then hearing what they did in the comic was just incredible.
Yeah, from like when they actually did the reveal of that one character in the show compared to like how long it took for it to show up in the comic, it was just like, yeah, like you said, Rob Kirkman, he's really good at these long form stories
Yeah.
of just like constant growing of characters. No character is exactly the same, I would say, even from the middle or beginning of when his story starts, because he does it in a way that makes those characters believable. Like, he doesn't throw like too much at a character to the point where it's like, I don't think that character would ever do that.
No,
He writes them in a way it was like, yeah, no, that makes sense for that character to do
exactly.
something like
And in this moment,
that.
there
Mhm.
are times where, like, and I'm not going to spoil any details at all, but there are times I truly think Invincible is off the rails, but how he got off the rails of his hero journey, I believe.
Mhm.
I understand it. I'm like, oh yeah, no, you would fly off the handle at this. You would break from this. Like, this all makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It's absolutely not even in comic books, but just like general storytelling. It's some of the best written dialogue I've ever read. It's some of the best panels I've ever seen in a comic book. Dude is a fucking master class at storytelling. I have no other way to say it.
Yeah, and then he excels at that. He just excels at his own characters telling a story. Like, I'm 10 issues away. I've never actually finished Invincible till like the last 10 because I just kind of don't want it to end. But I'm 10 issues away
right
from the
there.
ending, and I'm just like, man, I don't know if I want to finish this. But I did finish The Walking Dead, like from 1 to all the way, and he does the same thing in that. He takes characters who their history, changes them up more and more and more to the point where, like, everything by the end of it kind of makes sense. And I know people hated the ending to the comic, but I'm like, the comic's ending makes sense if you've been reading from day one. Like, it works. Everything in this story works. And I imagine the same thing happens in Invincible as well, where like by the end of it, everything kind of just fits in kind of properly.
He doesn't believe a character is perfect, and I think that's my favorite thing. He will let every single character he writes have a flawed moment, which I think anchors you to them and lets you like truly believe in this character and what they are because you feel like you've been there. Whether you have superpowers or not, you're like, oh, I've been that flawed. I've been that person. I've experienced that. And I think that's one of the most beautiful thing Robert Kirkman does in Walking Dead and Invincible is he's willing to just let his heroes and his protagonists that we typically lift up, like, again, big Superman guy, he's usually lifted up as this kind of perfect character. No matter what, his characters are allowed to be flawed, pained, whatever, and they will be able to kind of work within that. God, Invincible is special. I wish everybody would read it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, the idea of like a character who is so omnipotent that nobody can touch him, but still has very human moments in that is just like, yeah, it's very good superhero storytelling, and that I don't think anybody else can capture other than him with those characters, right? Like, we've always seen like Batman and all that, but those mythologies always change because everybody has a different viewpoint of how Batman is and who he should be. This is something like Robert Kirkman knows who Invincible is and who he should be, and so it's always going to be kind of good when he writes it.
And
but
while it's a little heavy-handed, it's not in the comic, but it is in the show. In the show, when he has a conversation with Seth Rogen's character, Seth Rogen says, "You call yourself invincible, but that's kind of weird. You're pretty vincible." Like, it's one of my favorite lines, and it encompasses this book perfectly. Like, he thinks he is completely bulletproof, but he actually has a lot of emotional, mental, and physical vulnerabilities. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I just
it's the other end of the superhero spectrum that we don't really ever get to see in comics.
Yeah, totally.
Oh.
Especially with people with powers.
Mhm.
Like, typically, if we want to show the flawed hero, we have Daredevil, Batman, things like that, right? Like, we want to take the mortal and be like, see how they're flawed. I love the concept of a super powered being being flawed. And,
Yeah.
oh, God. So,
Yeah.
big tangent. I did it to Mario with Moon Knight. I get very passionate about things I
No,
love. And, like, it's, I don't know. Just go read it, please.
yeah, it's very rare we could actually talk about like paper comic book stuff and stuff like that. But like, yeah, it's that book like ensnared me as soon as I like read the first like maybe like 5 issues. I was like, I have to go through the whole thing. This is amazing. This is actually, I felt the same way I did when I first delved into Walking Dead after watching the TV show. It's just like, this is actually really good and amazing. I have to read all of this, and since then I've just read all of it, and now it's over, and now Invincible's over. I'm like, Rob Kirkman, write another story, please.
I know, please give me something. It's funny that you said you have the last 10 issues and you just don't want it to end, so you haven't finished it. I got to volume 20 and I ordered 21 through 25, and when it showed up on my door, I was like, it sat there since it got delivered. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm ready for this character's journey to end. So
yeah, it's definitely a journey. Definitely a journey. And then last but not least, Sly. I see you've been reading a collection of letters and a history of England and Austen. I don't know what Austen is though. Is that like
Jane
like
Austen is the
oh,
writer.
Jane Austen? Okay. So I was like, it's like Texas or
No, that's a different Austen. No, I have this book. It's Love and Friendship and Other Early Works. It's all like Austen's earliest stuff. And I read Love and Friendship a couple times, but I hadn't. There's 4 other works in this, and I hadn't read the last 2, so I just went through those. And that's a collection of letters and a history of England. Both of those are by Jane Austen, and so yeah, I was just hanging out with that this week.
hell yeah. And then last but not least, in the checkpoint, we're going to go ahead and talk about what we've been listening to. I'm just going to start off and say that I listened to Kendrick's album. We're not going to talk about it until probably next week because I know Harv was super excited to talk about it. So we're going to wait for Harv to talk about Kendrick's album. So I haven't really been listening to anything else. I completely forgot there was even an MCR song this week, to be honest with you. It's been a very busy week at work. So yeah. And then, so we're going to go ahead and move it over to Mario. How was that my MCR song?
So I know I said a little bit of it last week that it existed, but I didn't really go into it and how much I think it's kind of really important to me that MCR has a new song and has new material, because when they announced they're coming back, it was wonderful. They had a fantastic video that was really just promoting concerts. And personally, as much as cool to see them live, I really wanted just more material because I love their albums as a whole, going all the way from Bullets to even Danger Days has now grown on me the later it's been. And so for there to be new songs and potentially a new record maybe down the road, I'm very excited. Now, this song is definitely more of a different blend than they've done previously, while also sounding familiar. There's a lot of stuff in there that actually sounds like some of their older stuff, but yet it has sort of this newer sort of darker tones, which I'm back for because they haven't done that in a very long time. So for this to be their first hit, I personally enjoy the song. I know that there's some people that think that it's overproduced in a lot of ways. I can definitely see that. But yeah, I'm just happy that there is a My Chemical Romance song out there. And, friend of the show, Joe Medforce, of course, got to see them live. Very jealous about that. He ended up being
absolutely jealous.
He was in an actual featurette video of their event, which was really funny. But other than that, yeah, I'm just happy that MCR is back and hopefully we get another album.
Hell yeah. I think it's a lot of people just like, it's been a while since they've had their sound, right? So it's definitely going to be a little bit of like the amount of growth these people have had in terms of like their music and stuff like that from like, wow, how many years has it been?
Almost 10 now at this point.
Yeah. So over 10 years, like, of course, it's going to sound a little bit different when they come back. And, I hope the fan base, learns to love, some of the new things. Because I'm one of the first people who, like, when I listen to a new album from like an artist I've known for a long time, a lot of the times I don't really like the songs at first. Like, I'm just like, maybe it's all right. You know what I mean? But then you'll re-listen to it and kind of get what they're going for. And it's like, oh, okay, you know what? This is a bop. I like this now. So I'm hoping it's like that kind of effect here, because I have been seeing it's a little bit polarizing for people.
Yeah.
At least on Twitter.
I personally loved it, but Mario, I'm very curious. I have one small gripe. What did you think of the vocal effect for Gerard? That was my biggest issue.
Yeah.
When I compare it to his past stuff, it felt very heavily digitized. Like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on?
Yeah, it's definitely
vocals
covered up in the song, which I actually I think is the polarizing part. Is that, like I said, sounds like it's over sort of processed, I guess. However, I have, of course, watched some of the clips of the live show that they did in London, and he still has it. He still has the chops. So I'm happy with that. I don't know if it's just a creative choice to go with that sort of grainy thing. You know what? Because it reminded me a lot of their Bullets album, which again was like sort of lower quality, lo-fi like recordings, and so it doesn't have like the high technical prowess that they probably had even like in the Black Parade, for instance. But yeah, I thought it was a very interesting blend. I would not necessarily think that was my favorite aspect of it, but I thought that the lyrics were fun. There's semi callbacks to, even the making of the band. I mean, the whole band exists because of 9/11, and there's a definitely clear call about where were you when the towers fell. And I walked across the road like that stuff was like awesome callbacks to their past. So that's why I sort of connected with it and sort of had that darker sound, because that album's very dark. It's very much based on, every song is based on a horror movie.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. It was literally just that vocal effect that I was like, I love his voice so much.
Me too.
That I wish I could hear it a little bit clearer. It's weird because, not to always bring it back to my kid, he's also starting to get more and more into music. And we listened to that and Black Parade back to back, and he, with zero context of MCR, he had the same thought. He's like, his voice is so good. He's like, I just wish they wouldn't have kind of added this effect to it, because I like how it is kind of like pure, if you will.
I'm about to sign your kid to PiP to do a podcast for us, because clearly he knows what's up.
He would love it. He'd absolutely love it. But yeah, that was our only complaint. Otherwise, I thought all 6 minutes was awesome. Can't wait for the new album.
Yeah, 6 minutes.
And even then, it didn't ruin it by any means. It was just more of a, damn, I just wish this sounded more like Gerard.
Yeah.
On that topic, Aaron, what is Dury and Noah Kahan? I think I said that right.
I just signed up for TikTok because I'm old. So I just got my TikTok account, and I've been learning the TikToks. And I picked music as one of my interests because I love music. And these are two artists that I just learned about via TikTok that I have fallen absolutely in love with. Noah Kahan is right up. Like, I'm very eclectic. I listen to a lot of pop punk, emo. I love. Fine, don't judge me. I'll even listen to like early 90s country. Like, I listen to a lot of stuff. But I will lean very heavily into this kind of new folk, like Avett Brothers, Camp, a lot of stuff like that. And Noah Kahan fits into my Colorado vibe music, is what I call it. It's that kind of acousticy, modern, folky feel. I didn't know who he was until I saw a video of him on TikTok. He's going to come to my favorite venue here in Colorado, Red Rocks, here pretty soon. And he just released an album like 2 months ago, and I listened to all of it, and it was absolutely beautiful and amazing. And I would suggest it to everybody. Dury, on the other hand, fits more of my like fuck the man type, like pop punk style. And I don't even know if I'd call it pop punk, but they have this new song out that blew up on TikTok. I don't know who's putting together the post, but I will send them a link to this song. It's their big hit. They blew up out of it. And it's all about how the fact that they didn't he's like, my mom said I shouldn't get a tattoo because I wouldn't get a good job. And everybody says I shouldn't pursue music because I would live in a basement forever. And the song, they didn't expect it to blow up, so they even rewrote the end of the song because he says I have to go to work like everybody else does. And he rewrote that lyric to say I no longer have to go to work like everybody else does because
That's
it
awesome.
went so big. And they're just wonderful. It's him and his girlfriend, for the most part, who write all the music, and then they have another bassist and drummer who actually comes in for their live performances. But they're super fun, like indie rock, and yep. I think everybody should go check them out.
TikTok has been such a great generator of finding new things. Like I have actual vinyls of people that I've listened to from TikTok now because I like Wet Leg is the one that I pulled in specifically. But then there's like Budman is one that I've seen. I see him constantly rapping on there. There's a few other ones. That I'm really getting into just because of that.
Shout out to Jury, by the way, for like this new revolution of nostalgia music. They just did a pre-release of a bunch of merch, and instead of a vinyl, they did a tape.
Fuck yeah,
like a tape deck. I was like, oh, we're now past the vinyl age. Like the shit I listened to on tape is now retro. Cool. I feel old and honored all at once.
No, 100%.
Yeah. So, two artists that I don't expect anybody to have heard of on this podcast, but that they should go check out. Durry is Durry.
They just gotta follow.
Great.
Yeah, Durry.music.
Durry.music. Yeah, Durry music. Yep.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna go check it out after the podcast.
Check out their hit, Mario. I think it's your jam.
Cool.
Sly, HS3 kinda ? Little freak.
So yeah, Hairstyles 3 came out last night. And my good friend Liz at Producer Liz is a big music person, and so she did a live first listen through for
I was in that chat for a minute. Yeah, I saw that.
Hairstyles 3. And so I don't really listen to a lot of music for obvious reasons. Especially like not new stuff, like stuff I knew before the whole hearing thing. But so Liz was going through and like I asked her to claim a song for me, and so she claimed Little Freak, and then I listened to that with her live, and then it accidentally is actually going to be a great song for all of the 911 edits on TikTok. Like I know people are going to make so many edits to that song for 911. So it was like unintentionally like a really good pick for me. But yeah, it's kind of Harry Styles-ish.
Well, speaking of full Harry Styles.
Oh, that sounded wrong.
Oh. Well, I mean, it's kinda. I mean, this is a fee. You also have Harry Styles on here. Honestly, to be real with you, when I saw HS3, kinda, I thought you were talking about High School Musical 3. But like, Harry Styles. Then Harry Styles, Fee. You've been listening to this as well. What did you think?
I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed one of the songs, like actually the very first song on the album is called Music for Sushi Restaurants, which like fan-frickin-tastic. It's definitely a bop. I know a lot of people really enjoyed like kind of like his slower music on the album, such as Boyfriends, which by the way, Boyfriends do suck apparently, according to Harry Styles. But no, it's a really good album. It has a lot of things for like essentially everybody. It kind of goes from like kind of like the slower aspect to like the really like fast jams. Also, side note, I was trying to do work this morning, just minding my own business, and then Cinema came on, and this man gets really inappropriate in the song because he just like, and I don't even think I can say this without people like being weird. But he specifically asks if a girl is getting a specific way, and I'm like, pardon, sir. Like that is
pardon, sir. This is a Wendy's.
I'm like, sir, this is a fucking 9:30 a.m. in the morning, and I'm trying to teach someone how to do their job, and y'all are like, why? But no, it's I think it's a really good album. I've been a fan of Harry since. Gonna be honest, I watched the X Factor when Harry and the rest of the One Direction became a band. And even though I wasn't like, oh my god, it's Harry Styles, like kind of like fangirl, like I enjoyed their music, and then watching them do their solo careers. Mind you, some are doing better than others. I would admit I may like Fine Line just a little bit better, just like a little bit better. But I'll listen to Harry's House a little bit more. The reason why I haven't really been able to like really like absorb the album is because I'm still obsessed with this year's listings for Eurovision. So I
Yeah.
keep on listening to that which by the way, on the side of rock music, do you any of you remember the band that like had this like song that came out called Into the Shadows by the Rasmus?
Yes, it was the fucking trailer music for Dragon Age Inquisition.
Guess what? They were in Eurovision this year. Mind you, they did not do very well, but they were in Eurovision representing Finland. So it was wild. There's a lot of other aspects. If you are not familiar with Eurovision, I would honestly, I think it's kind of fun watching the Netflix movie, even though it's really not how there's a lot of aspects that are real, such as the voting process. But you get to see a lot of like the fan favorites, including mine, which is Alexander Rybak, which is the he represented, my goodness, Norway in 2009 and won Eurovision. But if you're also a listener who doesn't know what the Eurovision is, it is a music contest that I don't know why they decided to make an American song contest this year, but I'm not going to talk about that. No, it's a music contest that's been going since the late 1950s in Europe to bring Europe together after World War II. And each year they have one singer or band representing a specific country, and then they perform and they get voted by their peers. You cannot vote from the country that you are in. So if you're in the UK, you cannot vote for the UK. You are blocked from voting for the UK. You have to vote for any country that's not the UK, and it's wild. There have been like other acts, for example, a small band that no one's heard of, ABBA, became very famous because of it. Also, Celine Dion represented Switzerland back in the 80s, which is wild.
I'm sorry, you say that as I'm listening to uh Jeremy Jordan singing It's All Coming Back to Me now.
Oh wow.
It's a fantastic, like, honestly, I would highly recommend it. There's like a very wide variety of music, going from like rock to some country to, as Lucas would like to say, a lot of people who seem like they really need a hug because they seem really like upset, um or just specifically need to see therapy because there's a lot of things that like specifically song lyric wise. But no, I think it's really cool. There's songs and also like different genres or things that I wouldn't have specifically checked out previously. I think one of the ones, and for people who are interested, you can actually go and listen to the entirety of like the actual Eurovision 2022 listing on Spotify. They have it ranked from first to last, which is makes me a little bit sad because one of my favorites, Lithuania, did not get to go through, even though they specifically talked about vegetables and
Details.
yeah, no, they did not talk about VeggieTales. They specifically talked about veggies and pussy on it. So would highly, yeah, Aaron. See, now I'm looking for your reactions. It's the it's the fucking multiverse where I say stuff and you're just like making faces.
We've gifted a few of my reactions that you've said that have caused them, Fee. Like, let's not act like this is
I mean, that
new.
is true. I did have to describe a decaying person on a bridge and talking about how a mouse comes out of there it is. There's the face.
I still hate it. I wasn't
no.
even trying to recreate it. I hate it.
But no, I would highly recommend it.
I facepalmed so much this fell off.
Wow.
Thank you.
I don't even know what that is. Yeah, but no, I think like currently, like if you are a Eurovision fan, I would highly recommend checking out Sade from Maro, who represented Portugal, which I did not think I like. I don't know. Half of it's in English, half of it's in Portuguese, and it is beautiful. It's just a number, like I think they had 6 women standing in like a circle and they just sang this beautiful song, and I'm like, this is fantastic. Mind you, there was a lot of heat on who won this year, which I know it's kind of weird that I'm talking about music and we're talking about competitions, because the Ukraine won, which I'm very, very excited about, and I think it was really well done. However, some people think that their song wasn't specifically as good and they were just voted specifically because of the current climate. And also, they're probably not going to be able to host next year, which is very unfortunate because I know the president of the Ukraine wants to specifically host it at some point. But as of right now, I don't think it's something feasible that they would be able to do, especially since it costs millions of dollars to create a stadium. And
Yeah.
then because it's essentially it's UK's version of the Olympics when it comes to music. So no,
Yeah.
it's just wild. Just wild. And also,
Yeah.
going back to TikTok, a guy who used to just sing in the corner of his room then became the representative for the UK and got second.
What?
Sam
How's that
Ryder.
happen?
Yeah, he just was like, he sang, like, he's fucking phenomenal. And he created the song. Well, he worked with the team, and it's called Spaceman, and it is really well done. And he's just like, he was on interviews this week, and he's just like, we accidentally got second because they're like, we don't know how we got second, because usually the UK gets shit on, because the year before the UK got a huge old 0, which is a record that they got just 0. So yeah,
Insane.
yeah, that's some Eurovision info. Would highly recommend it if you just want to see like or listen to different genres and also kind of get an idea of what the music climate is currently. Also just check out a few other years. Last year was great. It was really, really well done, and other years as well.
Oh yeah, I feel like I eventually got to watch some Eurovision stuff. It seems pretty interesting and it seems kind of cool, just kind of see different walks of music. But
Fee actually in our Discord, I think our public one, you actually posted a bunch of links to some of the music. So if you do want to check it out, it's there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna post some of the other ones I'm really excited about. I'm definitely down to like next year, like next May, everybody.
we're going to Eurovision.
Well, I was gonna say we were gonna have a watch party in the
no.
Discord because it's like 4 hours long. But I mean,
Oh.
I'm down to go to Eurovision, but like, who knows where that's gonna be next year?
True.
I mean,
Yeah.
let's go. I don't care where it is. Let's go.
Fantastic. Well, it might be in the
Turkey.
UK.
Buying the tickets
So.
right now. But yeah, no, that was a checkpoint, everybody. Thank you so much, everybody, for telling us what you've been listening to, telling us what you've been reading, tell us what you've been playing. It's definitely been a blast. So we're going to move into the patch notes because we've been going a little bit longer than I noticed. And we're just going to run straight through the tidbits really quick. If there's anything in here that interests you or anything like that, feel free to stop me. Otherwise, we're just going to keep this train going. So our first article this week comes from Richard Nebbins at The Direct. Daredevil Season 4 Disney Plus reboot confirmed. So all the Daredevil fans who have been waiting to see if Charlie Cox will be reprising his role as Daredevil, even though it's basically been confirmed now. Finally, this is the actual, like, yeah, this is it. This is happening. Albeit, I think Disney needs to stop talking about it already, because every time they seem to open their mouth after the initial announcement, they seem to be making everybody a little bit on edge and the idea worse. But yeah, what'd you guys think about this week?
Congrats to Nerf Alice, you've won. That's all I have to say.
All I have to say is hire disabled actors to play disabled characters.
Oh, you don't like Charlie Cox as Daredevil?
It would be fine if he was actually blind.
Okay. Aaron, you had something to say there.
Stop expecting it to have the Netflix tone. It won't.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
No.
I mean, and I'm okay with it. Yes, the Netflix show is awesome. I loved it. I loved the tone. But if you think for even a second Disney is going to carry that over, they're not. This is going to be way closer in line to your Netflix or your Hawkeye style show.
Yeah.
Just expect it to be Disneyfied, and that's
Just
okay.
a little bit,
To me,
definitely.
Netflix Daredevil was the Cheers, and then this is gonna be Frasier. It's just gonna be
Oh, god damn. What an
different vibe.
analogy.
different
That
vibe.
is exactly it.
Same character, different vibe.
I was looking
Love
at it like this is like somebody had to go after Frank Miller after his run on Daredevil, right? And I guarantee you it was not as crazy as what Frank Miller was doing with Daredevil. It's like
Exactly.
passing the torch in a comic book. You know what I mean? Think of Daredevil's Netflix's Daredevil as one writer doing this thing, and this is going to be a new cast thing with the same characters.
Yep. And I'm okay with it. If we want it to feel like it's a part of the MCU, that's what they need to do.
Yeah.
My biggest complaint about the Netflix show, as much as I loved it, it didn't feel connected to the MCU.
Yeah.
How are they
It
going
felt
to
like
change
its
that?
identity.
Change the tone.
Yeah, I feel like it might be kind of like a mixture between the two, just
Which
because
is awesome.
which would be fantastic. I feel like as much as we kind of like meme on Disney Plus, like Disney's released some pretty dark shit on their platform, and I'm just like, okay, like at least in Canada, you can get access to all of the American Horror Story. You can get access to different horror movies. You can get access to Fresh, and you're just like, okay, Disney. Like I'm feeling like yes, the
I think that's
MCU has
strictly a Canadian thing at this point.
However,
No,
did we like
it's international? Everybody, everywhere but here, Disney's like
Yeah,
that.
everybody
Yeah.
but here.
well, yeah, exactly. And I'm also thinking that like at least from the articles, I have not spoiled it for myself, but a lot of people were concerned about like at least the gore in the adult way that Doctor Strange was because of specific scenes. I don't know what happens. But I feel as though that they might have an opportunity to make something a little bit on the darker side when it comes to the MCU, which I'm all for. Especially if we're looking into things like in the future where we're introducing like Deadpool into the MCU, which is inevitably going to happen, and that's not going to be PG or PG-13. It's going to have to be R-rated because you can't have. And I think like also like Ryan Reynolds has specifically said like Deadpool's never going to be PG or PG-13. It has to be R-rated at all times. Like there's no specific way to make him not be like PG or PG-13. And I'm feeling as though like at least I'm trying to be I guess like either playing devil's advocate or being a little bit more optimistic about it because of the way that they've been releasing other content recently. I'm hopeful that they kind of keep the same vibe as what they kept in the Netflix series. I know it's obviously it might have a little bit of a difference, but I also think that it might be a good thing to introduce a little bit more of the MCU, but then also keeping that dark vibe to it, because I think that's what also made Daredevil kind of great, was kind of the rough edginess of it.
Yeah.
Would you actually say you're playing Daredevil's Advocate?
Daredevil's Advocate. Nice. No, that was a good one. That was a good one.
And Aaron's Aaron's really here now.
Yeah. And on that note, our next article comes from K Holt at Engadget here. For our Dead by Daylight fans, a Dead by Daylight dating sim will be arriving this summer. The people who made the Colonel Sanders dating sim are making a Dead by Daylight one. And a lot of people are surprised at this. And to that I say, really pay attention to how horny the Dead by Daylight community is, and then this makes perfect sense.
It is very horny. Like
I'm gonna give my opinion first here.
ahead.
And my opinion is I'm gonna hit mute while Fee tells us exactly why this needs to be a thing.
Fee is now yelling at her cat instead. But yeah, no, Dead by Daylight
She ruined the bit.
dating sim coming this summer. Fee, you're probably gonna play this. I'm not.
I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it. As much as I honestly, when I play Dead by Daylight, I don't specifically think like, man, this is what I like ooh, like horniness whatsoever. But I'm very interested to see how it's played and what they specifically think and what they've done with it.
Oh yeah. And then on another note of more games, Polygon's and Michael McWhirter announces that a new Death Stranding is happening. Norman Reedus says, if you guys haven't seen this week, Norman Reedus basically just said, yeah, we're working on Death Stranding 2, and that's really kind of about it.
Good for him.
That's all I need. I'm glad. Death Stranding 1 was fun. I liked it. I'm glad Kojima is working on that. I hope that's not the only thing he's working on. I hope there's multiple projects in the works. I doubt he went straight from Death Stranding 1 to start working on Death Stranding 2, but then again, that's a Kojima thing he would probably do anyway. Mario's holding his BB. It's my BB.
That was stuck to the wall when I pulled it off. It's weird. Ugh.
Yeah, that sounded bad. I think I heard it. On that note, too, Fall Guys. This comes from the Fall Guys website. Fall Guys is going free on June 21st and launching on basically everything you possibly own. Good for the people who are still playing Fall Guys. I dropped off of it because it just to me it just wasn't a sustainable game to have multiple fun with. But it's definitely fun to have.
Turns out, egg in your fucking face, Frank. All right, egg in your fucking face. Here we are. We're going free to play, baby. Let's go.
I think I said it was going to go free to play as soon as this game came out.
A resurgence of it when that comes out.
Oh, for sure.
I think we're going to be playing it this summer.
Yeah. I honestly think this game should have launched as free to play. It was weird that it launched as $20. I kind of want my money back, but that's
you
besides
get free
the point.
shit because it's free to play now.
I better get some free shit.
You are.
And then our last little tidbit here comes from Kotaku's Ian Walker. Texas Game Studio will help employees fleeing anti-trans, anti-abortion laws. I believe I don't have the name of the studio off the top of my head right here. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. But I am glad to see that there are studios out there that are kind of there. A lot of people don't really have a choice of where they live. And a lot of people don't have a choice. They can't just take their life and uproot it and move somewhere else where the politics of their personal life are better for them. And in these states where they really don't give a shit about, certain individuals and their ethnicity or the way they live their lives, it sucks for them because they can't just uproot and leave. And it's good to see studios put their foot forward and say, you know what, we really do care about you as an employee. We're interested. We'll move you to somewhere where you feel more safe. And that is definitely probably one of the more better human things I've seen on the news all this week.
Yeah, Certain Affinity is the company who, of course, are working on the Halo game.
Yeah, because we've had other news topics this week between this and then other things happening throughout the United States that have been pretty bad. I'm not going to give any kind of news coverage for the heinous actions that have been going on throughout the United States. I'm not going to give those people the time of day, but yeah, it's definitely one of the better pieces of news this week. And on that note, we're going to run through the main article here really quick. Hopefully, if he gets back before then. Our main article this week comes from Kotaku's Ari Nadas. The revamped PlayStation Plus lineup is stacked once you make sense of it. So this week we finally got a look at what Sony is offering up for its revamped PlayStation Plus service. There are plenty of games for everyone here, from older titles to new PlayStation exclusives. Is this a service that you guys will be delving into, or is this more like a wait and see situation? Because I know for me, at least personally, Game Pass was one of those wait and see situations when it first came out, and it eventually got better to the point where I'm like, yeah, no, I'm going to pay for it now. But those who somehow own a PS5 or even a PS4, is this something you're going to jump into?
I'll go first. No. I'm excited, actually, now that I've seen some of the list of the games here, that I've had to marinate on it. But the biggest announcement, and I'm sure we'll get into it, actually.
Yes. Sorry, you got me that Zach Fox song. You said marinate.
Yes, of course. The fact that original PS1 games that I purchased I don't need a subscription to play them. That is fucking awesome. But on top of that, it's gonna now add trophies to older games, which now I have to play fucking Metal Gear because I own it digitally, and I'm gonna have to unlock those trophies. So yeah.
Metal Gear wasn't listed though.
Eventually, but that's what I'm saying. Eventually, because it was one of those PS Classic games that were on the PS3 and also on those other platforms. So I own Siphon Filter, which is the first game that they've said. So that'd be the first game that I can fuck around with. And so, yeah, automatically, I'm happy that the purchases that I made in the past are now going to be actually reflected in the future. Nintendo. So I'm very happy about that. And the fact that they're going to go add more support to it. But also the games on here are games that I want to play that I didn't necessarily want to pay for. Like at the time, I didn't want to buy Demon's Souls because I wasn't a Souls guy. Now I'm a fucking Souls person. Now I want to play Demon's Souls. So there's definitely
the opportunity.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see what that looks like because I also own Siphon Filter, but I didn't have PlayStation Network on the PlayStation 2. I was a sophomore in high school in 2002. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I didn't have a lot of these features, so I will have to still kind of go back and double down on those. Like, I didn't really have a PSN ID until the end of the PS3. And then I'll never forget getting the PS4 at launch at midnight, going to a GameStop, picking up my pre-order, getting home, and not knowing how to carry that over, and I had to start over. So my PSN ID is only PS4 on.
Got it.
which my first platinum was. God, I'm blanking so hard. Mirror's Edge on PS3, and that never carried over, so I don't have that either. So
because it's not the same ID, I assume, right?
Yeah, I had to do a whole new ID.
Yeah,
I didn't know
that includes
any of it,
purchases as well. So like purchases that you made, they're not going to carry over. But for me, my ID has been carried over from PS3, Vita, and now this. So now all those purchases that I made on Vita, which were the PS1 classics, are now finally
I
being
see. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you bought PS1 classics, because I'm an old motherfucker. So you bought PS1 classics on other systems.
On other systems.
Whereas I was like, dude, my Soul Reaver PS1 game isn't carrying over. That was just on a disc that I put in.
No. Just if you bought the game digitally in the last few years when it was available, then yeah, you don't have to buy them again. You can just go ahead and continue.
No.
Unlike I bought,
my old ass is gonna have to buy everything. It's fine.
I can't tell you how many times I bought Super Mario Brothers on Nintendo platform.
That's fair.
And I had to buy it again and again and again and again. So the fact that this is an option is fucking awesome. This was a bonus that I didn't think when this was first announced. I was upset because I was like, this doesn't feel like a premium. You're not really specifying the certain things. And then now I'm finally seeing some of it and just some of the add-ins to it. And I'm like, this is a start. This is a good start. It's not the end all be all. Fucking Hit and Run and Hogwarts and Small Soldiers are not on here in Bug's Life. But eventually, who knows? Duel of the Roses.
I'm still at a place where I don't have the ability to set up my consoles, unfortunately. So they're, just sitting sadly in boxes, which breaks my heart. So I won't be upgrading anytime soon. But as soon as I get to a place where I can have my full setup again, I will definitely be interested in because I didn't get into consoles until much later. So like I'm excited to go back in and check out all the previous stuff I missed out on that they're now making more accessible.
Oh yeah, and then just to end this whole topic off here, because Fee is still dealing with her cat. She just messaged us on the thing. What is the kind of, so we're not going to get into the idea of like Game Pass versus PS Plus, because I'll be honest with you, they're to me still they're very two different like ideals of how you can do these kind of like games on demand type of service. But what would be the one thing or one app, maybe like a game or maybe an idea or something that would make you 100% want to try out PlayStation Plus? Aaron?
Let me download these old games.
Yeah.
I don't want to stream them, and I don't care about hard drive space, which is one of the biggest issues of the PS5 is lack of hard drive space. I will play the delete download game if you let me download these games and have a better experience. And I don't think I've ever felt more strongly about that than I have since playing Metal Gear Solid 2 on disc on Xbox. Knowing I'm not streaming that, knowing it's going to run, which it honestly has flawlessly, I don't want to be frustrated that my internet's down. I want to be able to download and play the classic game. So for me, it's that.
And even on the Xbox side, we've seen it, like, what was it last week where like the Xbox servers went down and people weren't able to play their online only games. It's going to happen. You know what I mean? It's something that is inherent with the system.
So,
and I'm 100% okay understanding like I can't play my Apex or Fortnite or whatever. Like I get that, but like, are you telling me I can't play Metal Gear Solid 2 because my internet's down? Like that's wild to me.
Yeah,
so,
for the PS3 version. No. I did want to say this, though, because I want to read a section from here. Players who have previously purchased digital versions of select games from the original PlayStation and PSP generation will not have to make a separate purchase or sign up for PS Plus to play these titles on PS4 or PS5. When these titles are released for PS4 or PS5, players can head to the PlayStation Store and download a version for the consoles at no extra cost if they have already owned that version. So,
what if I don't already own that version?
I'm not sure how that will work. That'd be kind of cool though if they just sold them.
Out.
If they
when they're available, whatever that means,
because they're on the store in some aspects, so they are able to download. So that's what. Well, available is just like you said. The first wave is Siphon Filter. Maybe next wave is Resident Evil, which is another game I bought. So, but yeah.
And then I think you already said too, like you would like for them to, you already said like what you would want to see in that platform is to have more of those games with more kind of trophies, right, Mario?
Yeah, that's they got me. This was the thing that make me pull the trigger, is the fact that, hey, now we have trophy support on older games, especially if that means that when more PS2 and PS1 classics come out, I'm gonna do my due diligence and actually try and play them. And the fact that they have the same support as the Switch has with the Nintendo S and the 64 and also the other ones, where you can rewind and do things. So it has more accessibility features in that aspect of people who, you know, the save systems on those systems were not the greatest, let's be honest. But now that this is giving me the absolute ability of like, all right, I can complete a section and make my save and then continue forward, it makes me so much more happier than having to wait to like get the ribbon and download the thing. Like the fact that I can have some sort of a modern take on it and just keep going, I'm totally down for it.
Definitely. Sly, do you have anything that you would want to see from the service that would make you want to get it day one?
Indie support is the biggest thing. Like, my favorite thing about Game Pass is, you know, so many indie games get those studios get so much support from Xbox in being able to be on Game Pass, and I know that's a really good deal for them. And those are, you know, the games that gravitate towards. And PlayStation tends to focus on, you know, being able to get the big names more out there in more hands, and they're usually not, you know, the kind of games I'm looking for. So more indie support on their end would definitely get me.
It's definitely a good point. Yeah, they definitely more India support, because at least for right now, from what I can tell in the lineup, they're definitely harkening more on the nostalgia of the PlayStation brand, more on like the other games that also help make that brand big. And indies are definitely one of the titles that definitely help like bolster a company's brand and stuff like that. I definitely agree with that. And then I'm just gonna cap it off with like day one games. Like I think that's honestly the best part of Game Pass, is that I can play certain titles that are from the Xbox Studios day one. I get that, you know, there is an argument that, well, does it make a game, you know, games development rocky? Does it make the games development like, you know, cheaper because they know they're gonna make it a free title, technically free, but you're still paying for the service, or stuff like that? And to that I say, well, I mean, I'm okay with day one stuff, but I'm also okay with if Sony was just like, hey, you know, we'll release this game on the service like maybe a month or two from now. You know what I mean? Something like that. I just want them to stop being so secretive and wishy-washy over that idea. You know what I mean? And also, don't insult your competition saying that it like makes their games worse. Like it doesn't. It makes it so more people can play your game, and you want more people to play your game. And I feel like Sony is being very wishy-washy on like, well, only you guys can play this game, or only this can play this game. You know what I mean? They're being very Apple about it, and I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, Sony seems very much set in the mindset of there's only one way to analyze success. And that's something we see a lot when we're looking at different companies in this industry, is how they measure success. And when you look at, you know, Nintendo's perspective, it's very different than Sony's perspective, which is very different than Xbox. And they're all valid, but it's something to keep in mind. Like PlayStation, you know, Sony is going to have a very different barometer for what they consider success, and that doesn't cheapen what Microsoft's barometer is. So it's ridiculous of them to say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have different criteria, you're working off of different analytics. That doesn't mean one is better or worse.
Definitely, and that's why I don't want to really get into the whole Game Pass for the PlayStation Plus argument, because again, they're two different philosophies, two different services. It's not worth making that conversation.
Exactly.
But yeah, so that's the news this week, guys. If you guys want to see what PlayStation's offering with the new PS Plus lineup, we will probably put the link in the description of this video when it is on YouTube. But other than that, that is the patch notes, guys. Thank you so much for doing that. Fee is still fighting her cat. I'm surprised she's still fighting her cat.
I bet FEMA had some.
At this point, she's
goddamn FEMA.
Demonic possession.
God damn it.
Cats.
Harv, you weren't supposed to tell them the truth, okay? You weren't supposed to tell them about what Fee's been up to. Now Fee's been kidnapped by FEMA. God damn it. But on that note, Sly, where can we find you? Where are you on the internet? What have you been up to?
Find me yelling about well, not anymore. We were yelling about 911 and 911 Lone Star on TikTok Live every Thursday night. We're still gonna do 911 adjacent things, but those seasons wrapped up this week. But we'll still have our Thirsty Thursdays live on TikTok every Thursday night, so check out what we have upcoming for that. And then if you want to hear me yelling about media, etc., this week we're actually doing a Harry's House slumber party episode of We'll Throw the After Party tomorrow. We're playing a little game where we answer questions based on all the tracklist titles.
Oh, hey.
Which will be super fun. And then if you want to hear me yelling about non-MCU Marvel movies with Mario, you can check out MC University, hosted, of course, on Point in Progress.
Oh yeah. And then now that we have feedback, Fee, where can we find you? What have you been on the internet? Oh, you are muted.
Should have just let me go. Should have just let me go.
We just all just
One day we will.
Yeah.
One of these days you will. Yeah, you can find me over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Serenix, where I'm going to be doing so. I know I keep on saying every week, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this, and this. But no, I definitely do plan on doing stuff this weekend, so definitely check it out. You can also find me over at the Game Source Network, where I am on a podcast called Speaking of Stadia with
Never heard of it.
Aaron over here.
Never been on
That
it.
show, by the way. Really, really good.
Never been
Where
on
we
it.
will definitely be streaming this week, this Wednesday.
The comeback.
Could be this Wednesday. Our schedule's nuts.
As long as currently the only thing that might be the problem is Jake's microphone, which is that was fun.
Kind of
No, it was his
necessary.
computer. My apologies. It was his computer. It was a lot of fun. Fun times. But yeah, no, you can find me there, and then also on Twitter at twitter.com/Zoranix, where I post really cute pictures of animal drawings that I find online, and someone who does fantastic oil portraits of food, which I've been doing recently. So also, random side note, another thing, there was a Twitter poll this week.
Yes. We will talk about that actually next week. Because one of the main reasons why we made that post is not here.
Purple
But keep an eye
Gatorade
on
shouldn't
Twitter
be on
because
it.
they're
Purple Gatorade is trash.
Blue Gatorade.
How many hours is left on that? I think we got like 12 hours
Oh,
left.
it ended.
Oh, it ended today.
That's
Okay.
the thing. It ended.
And it proved purple Gatorade is trash.
I mean, you know what's really funny? It beat out red.
It beat out red. It did. But we will talk about that next week when Harv is here so we can rub it in his face. Mario, where are you on the internet? What have you been up to?
I just claimed my copy of Paw Patrol, the movie Adventure City Calls, on Stadia, so I'm excited to play Stadia
Hell yeah.
later.
Let's go.
But you can, of course, find me here over the Point in Progress. You can hopefully, by the time this goes out, my Evil Dead review will be out. I was very fond of the game, so definitely check that over at techraptor.net. Hopefully I did a video for that. We'll see. Time is a flat circle. But of course, you can find us over at the MC University, where me and Cy will actually be talking about Spider-Man 3. So I'm very excited to finally close the book on Tobey Maguire's story. But yeah, very much excited about that.
And you can find me at Twitter at FrankGV, where I talk shit about video games and post random clips about them. We're still working on some videos to do. I'm trying to make a video for next week's podcast so that we can talk about the big poll that happened last week. So keep an eye out for that. You might see it on the show next week. But last but not least, our very special guest for episode 50 this week, Aaron. Where could everybody find you, man?
Man, come hang out with me on Twitter, Aaron Seaney, Seaney. It's gonna look a lot like Seaney to some people. I don't want to say who. Yeah, that's where a lot of my takes are. You can also just now, follow the Give Me 20 podcast official Twitter. After a year and a half, we finally did it. It's Give Me 20 Pod. 20 is numerical, so 20. And again, you have 20 days to go pick up our merch. We have crew necks, hoodies, t-shirts, long sleeve, women's tees, tank tops, all that good stuff. So check it out.
Definitely, and all the links for that should be in the description of this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Thanks for making episode 50 such a good podcast. I don't know how to end this. I've hosted only, this is the second time I've ever hosted. I don't know, you guys wanted me to do
with
this.
that,
Yeah.
progress has been made.
Hell yeah. Shout out to mental illness, I guess.
Fucking A.